Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Let me take a look and see that the audio is working. And also, good morning to those folks on the West Coast. There is a lot that happened this week, and including some stuff that happened while I was sleeping. So I am aware of some of the changes that happened last night, but I kind of want to have like a nice, robust discussion on it. So we'll wait for more of you guys to tune in, and we'll wait for some of the co-hosts to show up, and we will get into that. But in the meantime, this was kind of neat. Let's take a look over here. Oh, it's already on screen. I don't need to share it again. Just pop it up. So some of the folks were looking around. This is coming from Road and Track, and they found a clever Easter egg on the Ford Mustang Mach-E. And it says, "Electric ponies live here." I thought that was pretty cool. That is on, was it the transfer case or the side of the electric motor? Let's see what they say. It says the electric motors. Okay, so electric ponies live here. That was kind of cute. And I also, because I was reading this morning's news, I didn't have everything loaded up in advance, so I will be pulling the articles one by one from the notes. Let's take a look at this one and see what it is. We open up the chat. I don't know why it's not open like it should be. Andrew says, "Good evening. Good to see you." And Robert Griffith says, "Hello. Good to see you both." All right, let's get started. Let's move this up higher into my line of sight. And then we'll paste in the next item. What are we looking at here? So the first Model Y deliveries in Australia and New Zealand. Congratulations, Down Under. This is awesome. So you guys get your very first Model Ys after, what, 2 years on the market now? It's got to be super exciting. They finally got the steering wheel on the correct side for you. You get all the latest hardware. That's awesome. Congrats to the new owners. All right, let's see. And then continuing that, there's another Twitter. Let's see, another tweet. Eventually, I'll load up a bunch of them in a row so we can switch between them. So this is coming from Elon Musk. The millionth car. Total Teslas made is now over 3 million. That is incredible, especially when you consider how long it took Fremont to get to their millionth car. And when you look at the rates, Giga Shanghai stands a chance to catch and lap Giga Tesla Fremont, which is really cool. There we go. What's up next? This one's coming from the other Omar, or his team. Says even NHTSA is sick of the safety score. So he has a screenshot of a letter of an email that NHTSA sent to Elon, and let's take a look. Come on. All right, so Gregory Magano says on January of 22 to Eric Williams and a couple others, subject: NHTSA owns Tesla and FSD. And it's addressed: Tesla team. As you know, NHTSA owns a Tesla vehicle with the FSD option. The VIN number is redacted, and the vehicle is running the firmware version 2021.44.30.8. With over 700 miles of driving this year and a safety score of 99, including a score of 100 for most of the recent 107 miles on January 21st, we have not received the OTA update to fully enable FSD in our vehicle. We request that some of your time and expertise to assess our situation and help us understand what additional steps we might need to take. Copied here is Garrick Falkenbrook, our VRTC engineer responsible for this work. and Andrew DeMarcio from our general law division. Is that the lawyer? Hey, Elon, you're not giving us what we paid for. We're going to sue you. I don't think it's that, but kind of an implicit threat to bring your lawyer into the room. But Omar was right in that yes, even they are upset by it. But it's also kind of cool to see that that very rarely do they give out these little special considerations, and everybody has to wait in line. Then later on, Elon tweets in response to this. So let's scroll down. NHTSA actually bought a Tesla with FSD, and even they couldn't get beta. Laughing out loud. This was in January, so I'm sure they have it by now. This is so funny because I get so many safety score people messaging me, "Hey, when do I get beta?" And even the NHTSA had to do the same thing. For all I know, they were one of the people DMing me. This is probably why we haven't been getting updates as often. They don't want to send something poopy to the NHTSA's car. Laughing out loud. Safety score sucks. Yes, it does. This is gold. Come on over, NSTSA, and I'll take you for a spin. And then there we go. Elon responds, "Okay, we'll turn it on," with a laughing and face emoji. This is on August 16th, so 8 months later, and they still didn't have it. uh, Good morning, Timothy. My mouse is broken again. So I learned I don't have to lock the screen. I just have to click out of the browser and click back in. Greetings from mostly sunny Arizona. So over here in Virginia, we're looking at clouds, unfortunately. So we're running on either mains power or stored battery power. I don't know. I had to look at my settings. All right. Absolutely not. Oh, that's gold. All right, so the next tweet is probably the Elon tweet because sometimes I learn to copy all the important parts of a tweet or of a thread, I should say. Production is a much bigger challenge than demand. So no, I didn't do that. What is the biggest obstacle? Enough factories are building them. Scaling production is hard. All right, so what is he responding to here? Tesla received an 8,300 car order from Drive Autonomy worth $44 million. Elon Musk, what do you think about Scott Painter's big order? And Elon says, we would have sold him anyway. It's kind of interesting the way he responded to that. I would kind of think it'd be something a little more gracious. Um, oh well, that's good for them. That's a large order. All right, so next is another Elon tweet. One that's a lot more exciting than this one. Now, today's big news I was talking about this morning was also done by an Elon tweet. So you see me looking down at the baby here. She's looking at me, and she's playing with the milk. Say hello, Motoko. Good morning. No, okay. Yeah, here you go. Want a bottle? Yeah. All right, so paste and go. So I still don't have my swap tabs button, I don't believe. Nope. Just says stop sharing on the other tab. All right, so baby. All right, so this guy says it's very hard to conceptualize a 5,000 times capability improvement for our 2025 expectation for neural nets. I think he's at Ark Invest. Yeah, Winston Ark. Yep. To give you a sense of compared to the 2007 original to this year's iPhone will likely be a 200x on a CPU basis and 3000x on GPU basis more performant. Elon says, yikes. And let's take a look at his charts real quick. Wright's Law models the cost and declines of AI hardware and software. It's pretty nifty. So this is the AI hardware training, and this is the AI software training. Got projected dollars in RTU and compute required. Okay. Then his other chart was AI software should boost demand for AI hardware. Yeah, it did. Um, All right, let's move on to the rest of the thread. So that wasn't exactly why I picked up the thread. So Elon says, yikes. This guy says, how is Dojo going? Is it ready to turn off the GPU cluster? Very fair question, because that was what Elon said. He'll know Dojo's ready when he says he's going to turn it off and nobody complains that they're turning off the GPU cluster. Elon says, we'll phase in Dojo. We don't need to buy as many incremental GPUs next year. So that's a good sign. He says it'd be pretty wild if a car company made the most powerful supercomputer on Earth. Yes, it would. And he put car company in quotes, of course. Zach says Tesla isn't even a car company anymore. It's a tech company. Yes, Zach, that's why it's in quotes. Scoble says it is the only real-time universe-scale metaverse company. New way of saying data. As an energy company, as an entertainment platform company, as a transportation as a service company, a manufacturing company, a robot as a service company, and soon more. This is true. And all of it with no annoying commercials showing from them in ad platforms. Yeah, I agree to that too. All right, I think that was the end of that thread. So don't forget, on September 19th, we've got AI Day number 2. That will be fun. What day of the month is the 19th? It is a Monday, so I'm not sure if we'll cover that on Tesla Life, if I'll just pop up with it, or I know we'll talk about it probably on What Drives Us, but we'll get coverage for you on AI Day. All right, so insert plagiarized Reddit quote here, and then spam. All right, so let's go on to the next thing. But first, let's see what you guys have to say. Robert says, "Did I see the AI video I sent you?" I was traveling all day yesterday. I will have to take a look once somebody is on for me to be able to multitask. Is with the baby and the stream. But I'll take a look for sure. Um, Next one. No, I don't want to link to the paragraph. I want the link itself. Go. You want more milk? More milk, guy? Over here. More? More milk? Yes? Hmm, there you go. You just said yes. She turned away from it after saying yes. Yeah. She said, I don't want that. All right. What are we looking at here? Yeah. Good luck with that. All right. So NIO is to enter the US in 2025 with their first battery swap station in November. What? That is the most clunky headline I've ever read. But basically, NIO is bringing a battery swap station in November or November of 2025. Not sure which. Is that mine? No, this is from Dan. Okay. I'm like, why didn't I read this? I saw who it was and I just put it in. The company currently has 4 Neo ES8 models used for road testing in San Jose. And although the Neo NAD, the Neo autonomous driving is not working in the country. During the last Neo day, does it say where it's going to be? And of course, I need to click out and click in again. Mac browsers are next to useless sometimes. Oh no, it's not. Have these people blocked my search? Let's see if they blocked right click. They have blocked right click. I've got something for you, bad people. Don't touch my stuff. Absolute. Enable copy. Refresh, you jokers. I can mess with JavaScript too. So now I can search, hopefully. Can't. I can right click again. Oh no, they beat that. I got something for you too. Oh no, I just heard a system beep. Maybe it's my computer acting up. No? Oh, maybe I don't have a menu at all. What are you beeping at, computer? Oh boy. Get a Mac, they say. It'll be easy. The only thing it is slightly less power consuming on rendering my videos. All right, I don't see anything that would make a beep. The scrolling works. Right clicking is back. Haha. So now I can search. Still can't search. What are you popping for, computer? It's like super helpful. Let me open up a new tab. Paste it in again. Over here. Oh. Yes, baby. What? I search in the note program. I can. Oh boy, who's that? Oh, let me get this over to Marcus. It's not letting him in. Let's do. Yes, sweetie, stand by. Yes. New tab. You can go to the studio. 1 second, please. I need 2 hands. You want this spoon? Here. Yeah, that's good. So now I need to.
Kacey Green joined. 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 Kac
looping. I didn't realize you guys could hear it too. So sorry about that. And now let's paste this back in for Marcus. And there we go. Does it say where? That was the whole point of. I could search there, but I don't want to do that. I want to search the page. Do what I want it to do. This is the browser that's messing me up here. Find on page. So the keyboard is not working because there's the find on page. So let's do located. So we got locations, site selection, and lease terms for new locations. All right, Dan, if you're in the audience, tell us where this thing is going to be because I'm not seeing it at first glance. Let's put this here. Why? Either way, Neo charging stations and battery swaps in North America. That's pretty cool. Anders, are you laughing at my my the tech guy having tech problems? It happens all the time. All right. Let's go on to the next article while we wait for Marcus, and then we'll get into the fun stuff. And Marcus has a video for us to share as well. All right. So while we're talking about Asian EVs, Dan also has this one for us. This is VinFast. VinFast has pre-orders. We get a $7,500 rebate, federal tax credit or not. So they're telling you don't wait for this tax credit. Just order now, and if for some reason they don't qualify, they're going to still give you the credit. That's pretty cool for the customer. It's as an investor, I'm not an investor of theirs, but as an investor or somebody who's looking at how you're running your business, um, it's a good incentive for your customer, but it looks like it could cause you to have a little trouble with profitability. You want her? Her mom's here to pick her up. You want to go to mommy? Yeah. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Yeah, say hi to everybody. No, you can't see their faces. You can see your face. Yeah? You want to say anything? No? Okay. I'll see you after the show. All right. Next up, we've got this. So yes, as I was saying, it's good for the customers. So two major changes are the credit means tested. So they're telling you about the changes to the credit, and they're saying that if they don't qualify, because it's going to be based on where the battery is manufactured, rather immediately, and then after that, it'll be all the other requirements will start to phase in after 2 years. I think that the one that goes in immediately is just basically you can't use Congo, China, or not China, like Russian, like basically people that are considered uh, dangerous to us. You can't use their materials to make your battery rather quickly. What's next? All right, so Dan also sent us this article about wireless charging, which I've never really believed in because of the losses, and then the fact that you have to get every manufacturer to agree to put some kind of common module on the car. But let's take a look and see what it's up to. And let's ask Marcus if that worked. And then let's see what it says. So yeah, so you'll need a pad on the ground or have it integrated into the concrete, and then you'll need a receiver on the car. And then you got to hope that they designed it in a way to minimize the losses for pushing the energy through the air. All right, so Siemens and Mali have teamed up. Mm, 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 mm. All right, I'm not seeing anything that stands out to me. It looks like just basically a partnership announcement. So congrats to you guys. Hopefully you can crack this nut. And let's move on to this other one that Dan sent us, which is really awesome. And I will save it till somebody gets on here with us, just like the other stuff. All right, so then Omar sent us this one. And let's see what it is. We might just wait for Omar to get on and we can discuss it with him. Yes, yes. So Omar sent us a link to the other Omar, and we'll discuss that when he comes on as well. Then, of course, there was the debut of the first e-muscle vehicles, and that's one I'd like to discuss with Marcus. But we're gonna start now because oh, you know what? I'll load it up, and then we'll do it if Marcus gets on before I finish talking about this next one because they're related. Uh, don't play. It's loading. Okay, good. Um, then we've got this one. Copy the link, paste it up here for you guys. So this one is, we talked about how GM was helping us get our first real Honda EV in North America.
Like,
Hey, Wes. Hello. Good to see you. Indeed. Okay, so last week or the week before, I was telling you guys how GM was helping Honda come to North America with EVs finally, and like real ones. And here's that concept car. Now, this is the Acura Precision EV concept, and it was mostly just like an exterior like walk around. It shows you the styling. He talked about how the grill was of the cars that keep a grill. I think this one and the Mercedes are the more interesting ones, and I do like the one on the Mustang GT better than whatever the mess is on the regular Mustang. But I mean, EVs don't need grills. But if you're gonna have one, yeah, do something interesting with it, like this. They've gone for some styling, and you know it's probably not gonna look like this on the real one because it looks like it'll be a bear to replace during a collision, or if there's any sort of manufacturers like to be a little cheap with stuff, and that's to do it that size that way is gonna be expensive. and Acuras aren't that expensive to make your money back on it. All right, so let's see. There you are. So what do you think of this? What do you think of this Acura Eevee concept? It seems to focus on this grill. But I guess if you don't have an interior, it makes sense that you would pay a lot of attention to the grill.
Let me see. I missed that ad. I mean, the article. Yeah, it looks nice. So
Yeah, it looks attractive. I'm curious what the real one will look like. Like I keep saying that Honda and Tesla tend to make their concepts not look as good as the real thing. So, or at least the concepts are close to what you'll really get. So what we're going to see is smaller wheels, probably some mirrors, an interior, and a more affordable, producible version of this grill, and paint. So I think it looked like that based on what we've seen from Honda in the past. And for those of you that aren't aware, Acura is Honda. It's only available in North America. Everywhere else, all the Acura models are just Hondas.
is that a Is that? I mean, you said mirrors. Those are not mirrors.
No, these are
Those are
cameras.
not mirrors. Oh, camera. Okay.
Yeah, I think they would count as mirrors if you were to put glass on them, but I don't know if that would be enough to qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a mirror. It's the size of a postage stamp. I think if it did count, then we would have seen it happen already. Because I don't know if I put the tweet in the notes for this week or not, but Elon was talking about how much range hit you get from having side mirrors, and it was about 5%. Yeah, that's another good point, Robert. Is the electric car? And it's a decent electric car that you guys have in the UK from Honda. I think it's like the Honda E-Up or Honda Up or something to that effect. It's a little boxy car, and it has cameras instead of mirrors on both sides. And then right where you'd expect to look to see the mirrors, there are 2 display screens that show you what you would see in your mirrors, and I like that implementation.
Is that what they want to do with the Cybertruck at one point, if I'm not mistaken? Like have cameras instead of the mirrors?
Not just Cybertruck. Everybody wants to do that, but just like our headlights took forever to finally let us get Matrix headlights. So we can't have good safety tech like mirrors and lights, but we can have all the other cool stuff. And then over in Europe, they can't have any automation. Not in zero, obviously, but like all the cool stuff is just gone. All right, so then this was another one I wanted to talk about here. This I was talking about the e-muscle. Whoa, stop. It was paused on the other stream when I loaded it up, so I figured it would stay paused. I was wrong. So this is a Dodge presentation. So they brought back the Trifronius logo. Where'd it go? I had just clicked on it. They're lamenting about how crossovers are becoming the norm in North America, in the world. There you go, the Trifronius star. It should sound like a Dodge.
Be done. But you would be amazed how creative designers and engineers can get when they see the industry is planning a $500 billion party and they don't have a ticket.
Right, Dodge didn't have a ticket because they were sitting there making V8s and making them bigger and louder. So let's see.
Now the product brief, I will say is simple. They won't. The product brief was simple. First, reimagine the most iconic muscle car ever. Then make it aerodynamic as possible, as slippery as a melted jelly bean, but make it look like it was chiseled out of granite. Package an EV powertrain that will outperform our current V8s? Yes, even our supercharged V8s. Oh, and wait, remember I said everyone wants UVs? So make it all-weather capable with the utility of a big box store. A muscle.
I like this guy's analogies, and he seems to understand his customer, and I like the way that he jumped right in and said, "Hey, this is going to be more powerful than our existing noisemakers." And then, unfortunately, he continues on. Let's see if we can't.
And I know he was choosing his words wisely.
He is very, very much choosing, pulling his punches, choosing his words. He doesn't want to end up like Herbert Deese and Carlos Ghosn.
Run the quarter mile, run to Costco, and outrun Darwin.
They're seriously trying to outrun Darwin because right now, Stellantis has got them on the chopping block because the brands must have a certain number of EVs by XYZ date, and if they don't make it, they will kill the brand. And Dodge painted themselves into a pretty bad corner with this. Um, Now, if Dodge division still includes Ram, then they have a step up with the ProMaster because it's really just a Fiat, and they can just bring in the Fiat electric van to get themselves a jump start. We saw a fluorescent green Challenger yesterday. He was playing with the throttle and making lots of noise. We were in a Model S P100D, and my wife didn't even flinch. She was like, "I ain't got time for him." Exactly, totally. I don't even know why they try. But I actually run a noise suppressor on the microphone because they are constantly racing up and down this street, making all that noise, squealing the tires, revving the engines for. So later on in this presentation, he comes up and brings up something that I don't understand. I mean, I do understand why they did it, but I don't understand why they didn't pull an Audi and BMW and put the speakers on the other side.
Okay, I know that sounds damn near impossible, but we also knew it was 1972. And after all the amazing stuff that Dodge had brought to the market in the last 10 years, there was no way we were walking away from this fight.
He's suggesting that they're in a place they've been before, where the gas crisis was about to put them out of business a few years ago, and so they're saying they can do it again. All right, so let's see.
Yeah. We just went all electric. Guilty as charged. We
Music.
the right venture
Music.
right
Sorry, guys.
key.
I'll put a link to this in here if you want to watch it uncut. I wonder if I can mute my tab. You can catch that after we're through here. And it's got sound. 160 decibels of sound, just unnecessarily loud. He called it "wake the neighborhood loud," and I was just angered by that. Like, put the speaker on the inside so that the boys who are trying to compensate for something can feel that they're doing something. I don't need to hear it. I don't care. And I'm hoping that they, if they do this, that they improve it some more, because it sounds rather lame and hollow, but the folks who were in the room said that you could feel it in your chest, and it seemed more impressive. But in this world of social media, you're going to need to make sure that not only can you feel it, but that when people record it, it doesn't sound like an angry kid. And Wes has got this right. He said you had to choose fast car or loud car. You can't have both. And it's not wasting as much energy as its fossil counterparts, but it is still wasting so much energy with this. You can. Excuse me, I'm talking here. Just like a regular Dodge. You're trying to do something and they're just interrupting. The amount of energy they're wasting to make 160 decibels of angry kittens is energy that could have gone into the motor and down to the rubber, make the car go faster. And exactly like Wes says, you cannot have both because you're wasting energy. So anyway, that was what I wanted to bring up. I wanted to see how Marcus thought about that with you guys. We discussed it a little bit throughout the week, and I think it looks attractive. I just the noise, like, why does it need to make noise?
So
And what will the final interior look like? Go ahead.
I was really listening to the presentation they was doing and everything. I'm glad the fact that they're doing EV, but it's like they was more focusing on noise. Just got
Yes. All show and no go. I mean, it's going to be fast. It's going to be faster than anything they've ever made. But as Patrick was saying on the Tesla Life show and on his blog carswithcores.net, the benefit for Tesla is they don't have to compete with anybody. They have to incrementally improve themselves. Everybody that's competing with Tesla has to come out and match or beat them on their first try into the market, and that ain't it, Chief. I mean, you might get close, but you were just talking about how you're trying to stay in business, and is that going to keep you in business if you come in a distant fifth? I mean,
Hey,
second and third are going to grade. Go ahead.
I was saying, best believe.
Yeah,
I was taking notes, but he was watching his words, carefully and everything.
he was. I thought he was saying that he was gonna there's a one point he said something about the performance, and I thought he was comparing it to something else, but
yeah,
he wasn't saying that he was going to catch the competition.
he said
he said that very carefully, so I didn't even write it down. Yeah, it says that car was also a Chrysler. Yeah. It was. Is there anything left of Chrysler now? You got the minivan.
What's that?
I was asking if there's anything left of Chrysler now. Then you got the minivan.
Look, I was watching it live too on social media and the comments. Oh my God, all these the Mopar people just, man, I was like, don't hurt yourself, please. It's not that serious, so just come on. This is a good thing for the future, Come on,
Exactly.
it's not that serious.
But the good thing is that this will get the petrol heads into EVs faster than previously. And I also noticed there were zero mentions of e-muscle. They dropped that garbage this time around.
That's a good call out.
Yeah. All right, so they have the minivan. Oh, they still have the 300. I didn't realize that. That won't last long. And then they've got their Chrysler Airflow concept they showed us, but they showed us that, what now, 5 years? It's coming, we promise. As much as we complain about Elon being late for stuff, come on, guys.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Is it on the website?
No, I was just seeing because Wes pointed out that the car that carried that icon was actually a Chrysler, not a Dodge, and I was curious what Chrysler had besides the minivan, and the answer is not much. They've got 4 things listed and only 3 that you can actually buy, and 2 of them are the same thing. You got a plug-in hybrid and a full fossil. All right, so the next one I brought up, I wanted to share with the group that we could bounce off each other is this one here.
Hey, Kacey, I want to say one thing right quick before we while we still on the noise part. I get laughed about my Plaid when I'm, getting ready for a race and they tell me it don't make no noise, etc. I said, well, look, man, we drag racing.
Yeah.
Racing is not the loudest. It's just who gets from point A to point B the first.
Best reaction time, shortest time to get there. That's
sound don't win races.
Right. All the sound does is make the people in the stands go, "Whoa, what's that?" And you can do that already. Like, but even then, getting the people in the stands to go, "Whoa," doesn't get you your prize money.
Did they? If I'm not mistaken, was they acting a fool with Tesla about the speaker at one point with the noise making or something like that to the side?
I don't recall, but they did get real close to touching on it, but I don't think they actually bopped it.
Okay.
He kept stepping right up to the line, but not trying to wake him up.
Okay. No, I'm just trying to figure out where is this going to go with this line system. They focus on noise making, because I'm speaking from my, from what I see and people I know, the community with the Mustang, they just reckless,
Yes.
coming through neighborhoods at 1, 2 in the morning, just revving up for no reason, and I'm just trying to see how that's going to be if that's what they mainly focus on,
Yeah, we were talking with
neighbors up.
We were talking with somebody in our circles, and he said that when he's looking at places, if he sees a bunch of of the Mopar muscle parked out front, he doesn't look at that place when he's doing his shopping, because he doesn't like the interruptions to his peace and quiet. and it's basically guaranteed that they will interrupt your peace and quiet at least twice.
Mm-hmm.
at least. Dan said Elon wants his boombox back. I don't think the boombox gets that loud. Wish they bring back the Talbot. That would be interesting. All right, so Omar sent us this one from the other Omar, and thanking Minimal Duck and Tad Park for their help on this. And they were refuting Dan O'Dowd, the guy we talked about last week, who lied about FSD being enabled during his test, and we could tell by looking at the screen that FSD and autopilot and everything were turned off, and that
That's about it.
and that the one where cruise control was turned on, the driver had his foot on the pedal because there was a message on the bottom of the screen saying that car will not brake. So of course the car won't brake if you're telling it to keep going with your foot. So they made a video refuting that, and he says, we knew that this would work because we see pedestrians, including kids and even toddlers, in the real world all the time. FSD handles them just fine, and there's a human safety driver always. Moral of the story is pay attention. No system is perfect. And so let's see if we can't make this a little bigger. Oh, we can't make it a little bigger. So we can see all the people running around on the street, and if you guys haven't noticed it yet, like it'll even show like dogs and cats if they're being out walked by a person. Well, actually, it'll show loose dogs. I don't know if it shows loose cats, but if a cat's walking on a leash, I've seen it show up. I think they have a really decent option to go for these folks for slander, because that's there was no element of truth at all. I don't know that he did what other manufacturers do when they screen image simulated. This is a lie. No, there's no fine print on his BS. Automated driving systems with designed with the expectation that it's not going to be 100% perfect. Yeah, it relies on humans to supervise and employs technologies like attention monitoring to make sure that happens. So even if we're trying to run over kids, no kids will get run over. Dan is a fraud. And so this would be a perfect opportunity to look at another tweet that I found this morning regarding, or last night, either way. Tesla gets stuck behind a horse and cart on the road. What it displays on the screen is hilarious. Well, it's doing its best of showing you what it sees. That's incredible. All right, so let me see if I can't find the one that I was looking for.
I mean, at least it's showing something to me. It's showing something versus nothing at all.
Exactly. All right, so I've got another YouTube link for some reason. Let's see what that is. Loading. Oh, it was the same thing. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss it. It was the Dodge presentation. Then we've got another one in a private group. So let me extract the realness out of it. Almost says, also related to the fraud is the Tesla Rise story I shared that CNBC had the YouTube videos taken down. Oh yes, that's a good point. So Dan O'Dowd, the guy who perpetrated the lie, he had YouTube takedown requests on the people using during the refuting of his videos for saying that they used his video even though it was fair use. And then on top of that, for the ones that didn't use his stuff and they just referenced him, he filed a safety report to YouTube as if it was encouraging people to try to run over children. For one, the car won't let you do that, and two, they weren't using real children; they were using mannequins. And YouTube continues to be easily manipulated by bad actors like Mr. O'Dowd and Sony and others that are just lying about stuff that they own and don't own, and basically he was trying to silence the fact that he was lying and leave his lies out in the public. And then Dan tagged us on this. It's called a gamer inspired EVs. Is how he posted it. Let me see if I can't find that tweet first, because that is a little more important to me at the moment because it's related to what we're talking about. I don't know how it's not here. Stand by. Make sure that the computer and the phone are in sync on the notes. Sometimes they get out. And they were not in sync. I opened the phone and more stuff popped up. I think that this is the one. Sorry about this, guys. All right up to the minute, reading today's news, and then baby was wiggling. It's kind of hard to use your mouse when your hand that does the mouse is moving. Okay, perfect. This is the right one. Paste. So in addition to it being really difficult to get the car to run people over on purpose or an accident, this guy works for Tesla AI. I don't know if he took Marthy's place or not, but he's recruiting for Tesla AI. So he presented some of the work from Tesla Autopilot team at this event this year, especially including occupancy networks, our approach to solve general obstacle detection, and using it to enable sophisticated collision avoidance. The full talk is here. I'll put a link to the tweet thread so you can find it. There we go. DJ Clay says, "What's up?" And Robert says the tractor one. Oh yeah. The if it's the one I think it was, yeah, that's really cool. I keep saying electrify all the things, and so making electric tractors, it's the way to go, and it improves the quality of life for the workers and everybody. And let's see, Zachary says hello, everyone. Hi, Zachary. And all right, so let's continue on this tweets from this guy from the AI team. Typical approaches such as image space segmentation or free space pixel depth wise have many issues. All right, so we've got classical drivable space. Using the same method that everybody else is using, you can't see the overhanging obstacles. It doesn't provide 3D structure. It's extremely sensitive at the to the depth of the horizon, and everything past another vehicle it assumes is undrivable. And then for some reason the sign is marked out, but it's not part of what he's showing. So I guess that's where the car is saying that it knows that lane is closed. Excuse me. He says that dense depth is not enough either because it still makes it harder for the car to parse what's going on here. And he goes on to show their solution to how the car is able to do better. So it's got a little bit of memory, and it's doing better with the depth. It's using voxels instead of pixels. And then the way that they're doing it is faster. So it can operate at the speeds that you need to actually operate a vehicle on the road. And so you can see all the cameras, well, most of the cameras, and how they match up with the 3D map. All right, let's go on to the next one. These occupancy networks have some nice properties. They predict geometric occupancy. They use multi-camera and video context. They predict dynamic occupancy flow, persist through occlusions, which is very important because while driving, you get lots of occlusions. You get signs on the side of the road, trees, other cars cross your path. You need to be able to remember that, oh, a person walked behind that car, so they may show up on their existing path. Let's see. Persistent through occlusions, resolution where it matters, which is important because people keep pointing out that these cameras are just barely HD, and that we don't need 4K cameras to do this. And in fact, 4K cameras would slow it down. You need a much more powerful computer to process 8 4K streams. But with the multiple cameras, they're able to extract what they need. Is what he's saying. Efficient memory and compute, and it runs in 10 milliseconds. All right, here we've got the fisheye and the left pillar, and they normalize it so that it corrects for the curves, and it's able to combine them together into the model. That's really cool. This allows the car to avoid any UFOs on the road. Also, the car can peek around corners to make human-like unprotected turns. So let's take a look at this. All right, so here we see the car's interpretation of everything and all the cameras it's using. So it sees this car coming up, and this is the fender camera on the left, the driver's side blinker camera that you can see, and this one is the B pillar camera, the one that we can't currently see without hacking, the one on the lower left, and you can see that it actually uses that when it's peeking around the corners, not the rear camera, which makes sense, but because we can never see it, it's always with the version that we were running up until last night. Well, that most of us are still running. You can't get a feel for why the car is doing something. Like, can you see that? Like that it's actually safe to do this. But here you can see it actually sees pretty well. Look how far in that red car shows up, which is pretty cool. All right, so occupancy network representation of these networks allows for differentiable rendering of images based on neural radiance fields work. However, unlike typical NERFs, which are per scene, these occupancy nets generate across scenes. So as the car is moving, it can do stuff like this. This is rendered from the cameras, and the hazy blind spots are, you can only see so well in certain locations. But this is what it was able to build just going around this block. This is what you get from all 8 cameras. The blind spots are more towards the front corners of the car, next to the bumper. But look how deep it sees into that parking garage. That has nothing to do with driving, but there could be like a Fast and Furious race coming out of that parking garage.
Right.
And it's ready. Now, if a car were to show up in the entrance, like it's even looking inside the back. I see that all the time when, like, if we go to a drive-through, my car is actually rendering the people inside the kitchen, and it shows them like talking to each other. It shows them coming to the window. It shows them going back to the, like, it doesn't show exactly what they're doing, but when you see the 2 people facing each other, okay, they're probably talking. And I'm like, man, you're so nosy. But at the same time, should a bar fight break out and they bust through the plate glass, I'm not going to run them over because it's been watching them the whole time. It knew they were coming, and so the car would be right there, and it'd be a lot more focused at that point. All right, let's see. These predictions are already used, and this is why I even brought up this whole thread. These predictions are already used to prevent a lot of collisions. For example, Autopilot prevents about 40 crashes per day where a human driver mistakenly presses the accelerator at 100% instead of the brakes. In this video, Autopilot automatically brakes, saving this person's legs. All right, so for those of you that are squeamish, there's no stuff in it, but it's a close call. So this person started going, and then they saw it was doing what they didn't want to do, so they pushed harder, but it was the accelerator, not the brake. And so the Autopilot slams the brakes instead, and it actually shakes the moisture off of the car. It was such an abrupt stop. That would have been terrible for this person. They would have been seriously injured. And thanks to the computer, they were not. Like, you could even see that at the end of the frame, they started to jump. So down here is automatic emergency braking for pedal misapplication. So they hit the pedal hard, and then the car starts moving, and then it says no. So the gear is in reverse the whole time. The driver pressed accelerator pedal percent, a little bit, bang, and then they let go when they realized their mistake. The vehicle acceleration was a little bit in reverse, and then when they hit the brakes, it registered the other direction, and then it settled out as well. And this is what we were talking about. Why Mr. O'Dowd is gonna get people killed, because if he's successful in either scaring people into not buying cars that have this technology, or if he's successful in getting his perceived competitors out of the market with governmental action, what other cars do this right now? I mean, even like later on in the thread, somebody points out that cars with ultrasonics can do this, but they don't.
What's that happening in the picture there? The glass breaking?
That's the water coming off the car from
Okay. All right.
or do.
Gotcha. Okay. Like glass is breaking.
Oh, that would be really bad. They had to stop somehow the glass broke. Yeah. Lots more collisions can be saved, but it requires more smarts to be both smooth and fast while being safe. Implicit neural networks help this planning problem by providing quick queries for possibilities of collision. And when you've got 1 billion miles a month getting streamed into your data center, it's really a lot easier to find examples of what you need to find and then train the computer on it than it is if you're out there running your own fleet at a million miles a quarter or less, depending on what your fleet looks like. They've got a massive head start here, and if they can do all this without lidar, think 2 microseconds for a query compared to a few tens of seconds for a classical baseline. Here they show the car doing these queries as they turn it around. This technology progression is very exciting for us because when we execute on this plan, we can build a car that literally never crashes. It'll be an absurd thing for a car to crash. As of right now, we say every car is going to crash eventually. Crashes are going to happen. Well, not every car, but crashes are going to happen, and people will still get hurt, but there's going to be less. But if this works and they succeed, then he's right. Then the crash will be so rare, people will be investigating like how this happened rather than right now. It's like, oh, there's a crash, stuff happens, and they move on with life. Well, the survivors do. Many of these improvements go into the Tesla drivers in the 10.69 release later today. This was last night. Or yesterday, actually. All credit goes to the amazing team that works hard to make this happen. If saving lives while building super cool things excites you, please consider joining us at Tesla AI. Absolutely incredible. When you say 40 crashes, do you mean 40 crashes? Do you mean 40 missed applications? This person says, what do you mean? The system would even detect missed applications if they weren't able to cause crashes by reading drivers' minds to determine their intent. Where is the rest of it? There was the one that pointed out. That's a clear situation where Tesla didn't prevent a crash. It's pretty basic. Tesla intervenes 40 times a day for throttle missed application. That's all. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the whole point of the thread was where it stops something bad from happening. If the driver stops something bad from happening, they can't take credit for that, obviously. It's pretty easy to know to high certainty if the car would have crashed when you know the physics of the car, the distance of the object, and the number of milliseconds the pedal was pressed. So I don't know how they count instances, but it's quite possible that these are really avoided. Yeah. Why would they lie? Like, that's just inviting more investigations, and they have enough of them. So Chris says, Dirty Tesla says, this human was going to get squished by another human, but then a robot saved them. Mind blown. Exactly. He's got 69 likes. Nice. Let's get it working in reverse too. It was working in reverse. That was the license plate we were looking at. License plate. That's reverse. Only bump I had was reversing uphill over a hump. First try didn't apply enough. Second try applied too much. And then, yeah, Sarah M. This video is someone reversing. It's the backup camera with the person who's almost lost their legs. This requires that autopilot be engaged, or is it always vigilant? And an autopilot is always watching. Exactly, it is. That's what Elon keeps saying, is that the safety features are free. The convenience features are really expensive and about to get more expensive. We'll talk about that in a minute. Angus says, my garage wall will really appreciate this reversing collision avoidance. Now, that's not to say it won't let you do bad things with your vehicle. It just stops you from doing it on accident. So if you want to do some bad things, it'll resist you for a second, and then it'll let you do them. So don't go around thinking, oh, I can run through this photo booth, because it'll let you do it. It'll make it hard to do, but it'll let you do it. I say that as a weird example, hoping that there are no more photo booths around. They were everywhere when I was a kid. What prevents most modern cars from achieving... There we go. This is the thread I was looking for. What prevents most modern cars from achieving this particular example using their ultrasonics? And he says ultrasonics would provide a warning, but not automatic braking. He says that the same thing they use to make all that beeping noise can be used for the brakes. It could, but what if they're trying to stop you from running through a bush that's overgrown into the driveway, and now you can't get out of the driveway because you have a terrible
Right.
gardener at your doctor's office? So you need the cameras, you need the logic, you need the conceptual understanding of the world. Otherwise, you don't want false positives locking people out of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, maybe someone smarter than me could do it. Could say why they don't. He says, I don't know. He's showing you this example because the car understands the surroundings well enough to know that using the accelerator in this situation will result in a collision. Yeah, I mean, there's any number of times where you need to go and is not dangerous, but the car will see stuff. And it's not like a false perception of something there. It's just a false danger. Like the bushes hanging into the street. Or the parking lot in this case. All right, so let's see what's the next one. So speaking of autopilot, we're going to talk about autopilot for a minute. Before we change articles, though, thank you, Zachary. Zachary says, great job every week. My support fully paid by my profit in Occidental Petroleum. Warren Buffett is buying 50%. Great place to work. Great place to park your money for the next year. There you go. So take a look at talking to your financial advisors about this, and thanks for the tip. Yeah, that's actually really cool. I like that. All right, thank you. And then Eddie says, I remember telling my friends I wanted a dash cam before I knew they were called dash cams. Yeah, I agree. They make all the difference. And then Robert says, or gears in other places, and has that picture. So let's take a look. I guess I'll click this. How am I going to do this correctly? Let's do it this way. Copy link. Because I used to just have my switch tabs button, and that's gone now.
So is the update happen?
I don't know. I guess I just thought that it was not as helpful. Yeah. I remember I learned to drive a manual transmission on my grandpa's tractor. That thing had an unforgiving clutch. All right, so what was I clicking on before this? So there was the gamer car from Dan, but here we go. This article here from Reuters. So Reuters reports that we talked about how California is investigating FSD and autopilot to see if they need to change the name yet again, while the German court has just concluded that Tesla can continue referring to autonomous driving. German court lets Tesla ads continue referring to autonomous driving. Germany's this. An industry-sponsored body tasked with policing and anti-competitive practices has filed the so-called non-admissibility complaint with Germany's Federal Court of Justice. And when German court threw out the complaint, spokesperson for the court said the complaint had been rejected on July 28th, effectively allowing Tesla to continue using the phrases full potential for autonomous driving and autopilot inclusive in its German advertising materials. There we go. Industry publication Tesla Mag first reported the rejection earlier this week. The complaint by that group came in response to a ruling by the higher court in Munich in October of 2021 that confirmed an appeal by Tesla against a previous verdict by a lower district that prohibited the use of these phrases. Well, there you go. So they took it all the way to the top, and they won. Tesla earlier this month was also accused by California state transportation regulator of falsely advertising its autopilot and full self-driving features as providing autonomous vehicle control. And now they have something they can point to and say, hey, look, the Germans aren't stupid. What do you think about this?
Interesting.
It's good news because like
I,
all the people say, "Oh, I'm afraid of it because it's called full self-driving. People are going to run me over." Nobody is that. No, like other than the backseat bandit. I bet even he knew deep down that he just wanted to be in the news. Nobody who drives a Tesla or owns a Tesla is confused by this. Yes, while you're researching, like casually just hearing stuff go by, you're not really ready to buy one yet. That might be somewhat confusing. I understand it, but as I keep telling you guys, autopilot is not a new term. It's from the early '60s, and it meant cruise control. It's like it did in the airplane. Otherwise, they would have never used it because airplanes were cool back then.
Good point.
Yeah, so it maintains a vector and a speed. All right, so while we're talking about autopilot, let's just keep on going. The autopilot show. All right, so this is a tweet by Elon, of course, and after the wide release of Tesla FSD Beta 10.69.2, the FSD price will rise to $15,000 in North America on September 5th. Woo!
Yeah.
15 G's, 15 stacks. Current price will be honored for orders made before September 5th, but delivered later, as it should be. If I ordered my car and I put it in the box, and then you tried to get me for another $3,000 after the fact, I'd sue.
Yeah.
Because you committed to build the car for that price, signed the contract, took my money. Here's the rest of the money. Let's go. Especially considering the way that Tesla handles orders right now is this isn't a reservation we're talking about. This is an order, and if it took them an extra 6 months to get the car to me, that's their problem, not mine. But it's also why, for a while, changing the paint color of your car would raise your car's price to the current price, because that's not the same car you got in contract with them for, which is why I would consider them not doing this to be some sort of bait and switch rather than doing the right thing. So he says, we're going to do the right thing in case it needed to be said. He says, note, you can upgrade your car in 2 minutes to the Tesla app or via the Tesla app. And then we'll let the complaints commence. Get it while the getting is good. Appreciate the heads up on the pricing. I do like that part. I do like that they let us know before they raise the price, rather than us waking up and say, "Oh, I finally saved the last payment on my down payment on my autopilot purchase. Let me run this credit card. Oh, snap! I need to do it again." Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. What's your take? What you think about, or your opinion, as far as this, though? I'm trying to understand. Like, it's been going on for us for a couple of years now, as far as like the FSD, the full FSD.
Yeah.
But you bought it then at this price. Of course, it goes up, but then it's still not really out there yet. But you already paid for it. But
right
now you're looking at about possibly getting rid of the car now.
I still wish that they would allow you to transfer from cars, at least until the thing is fully out there and out of beta. They won't, because Elon thinks it's a stupid idea. But Elon also thought that waypoints were a stupid idea. So maybe enough of us normal people who don't have so much play money can convince him why this is a good idea. He might change his mind again. I'm not counting on it, because he becomes a little extra. I can't comprehend when people reach into his pockets, and and that is definitely reaching into his pocket now at $15,000.
Go for it.
Just saying, but I get it, and so I fell for it's only going up, and then it went down for like nearly a year after I bought it, but then after that it did literally only ever go up. So I maybe that was a sale, maybe it was a discount. And so I got in at 7,000 or 8,000, and then they had like a fire sale for like 4,000 or 5,000 for a while, and they had a couple smaller sales in between there,
right?
And then it went back up to my price. Then it went up to 9,000, then 10,000. Right now today it's 12,000, and
potential
in
15.
4 weeks, it's going to be 15,000. So yeah, for me, literally, if you zoom out far enough, it only went up. But if you look at it week to week, it did have a little dip there. That I was upset by that part, because one thing that came out of that is Elon said, "Oh, to make it up for you suckers, we're going to give you first dibs at the software." And there I am sitting on a car that doesn't have the latest software. It's close, but it's not the latest.
Right.
They let in a bunch of people who were the safest drivers, and they had no way to measure this because shortly after that, they came up with a safety score, and I proved to be one of the safest drivers, and I finally got in. But those safest drivers never have had a safety score, so I'm all over the place with my regards to how they implemented the FSD beta and pricing.
I talked to some people about that safety score. They said that's like nerve wracking for them.
It is because everything that happens in the world around you can ding you, and it's usually the car's a little aggressive in what it counts, especially like following closely. Like I don't follow closely, but if you're doing over 45 and autopilot is off, somebody cutting in front of you, even if you don't have to slow down, will count as following closely. And in the mid Atlantic region, people don't understand that the space you left. Well, the same in the Southeast too. They don't understand that the space you left for braking isn't a space that if it fits, I sit. If it fits, I sit like a cat in a small box. No, that wasn't for you to shove your little Mopar machine into. That was in case the truck in front of me slammed on the brakes. I didn't end up with his bumper in my frunk. Yeah. All right, so let's continue on this because that was fun, very fun. All right, so Elon made the announcement, and then people reacted to it. So let's copy the link. Now, like we keep saying, is if you see something from Tesla you like, buy it when you can, because eventually they'll either not make it anymore, they'll change it to something you're not as interested in, they'll raise the price, etc. Because at least in this one they've warned us, hey, the price is only going up, and I think that it would not be surprising. It would be really annoying to see, but it would not be surprising to see FSD sold for $100,000 to $150,000. And it sounds like I need to get an order in for Tesla Semi before the price gets too high. Let's paste and go. This would make sense if FSD beta is open to anyone who wants it and doesn't have to opt in. But regardless, $15,000 is a ton of money. That's 1/3 the base price of a Model 3 rear-wheel drive. I think, and I've said it before, that the $25,000, the Model Next, which will probably be more than $25,000 now with inflation, I think that the FSD on that car is going to cost more than the car when it launches. Like, here's a car for $25,000. Oh, you want autopilot? $30,000. Just like that. $15,000 increase. Woo.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Like, that's what I was thinking before. I'm like, is it keep going up? Is it gonna be more worth than the car itself? Make it make sense.
He warned us. I don't know that the math works out on that, but I mean, he warned us. And then as they add features, it's fine. Like each time they add features, like as they add a feature, I'm like, okay, that's now worth what they used to charge for it, but not what they're charging now. I never feel that what they have is worth what they're charging.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So now I do feel that I got my money's worth with what I have in my driveway. It's not what Elon promised with the coast to coast, unattended, blah 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 with the robot chargers, and I do expect that. I don't know that it'll actually happen anytime while in my ownership of the car, but I do expect that technology will happen. So I'm going to do my best to keep that car on the road and see if I can hold them out for that. Let's see. And then Sawyer says, copy link. Were there any other people in here? Quickly pricing it out of the reach of most people. There's always subscription, and every car comes with incredibly feature-rich free autopilot. What feature-rich? It's cruise control and lane keep that work really well. And safety, all the safety stuff. Don't forget that. Let's see. So it'd be helpful to know if cars can be upgraded to hardware 3 to hardware 4. Unless the hardware 4 requires the 16-volt architecture, it should. And even if it does, they can put a buck booster in there and make it get the feed it needs. If not, then probably many people would opt to wait until the release of Hardware 4 to better future-proof their investment. Let's go on to the next one. This one says, once the FSD price is $15,000, a fully loaded Model Y Performance will cost $90,440 in the US. So with my insurance company, if I don't buy FSD when I buy the car, and then something happens to the car to total loss it, they don't reimburse me for the FSD.
Let's see.
And if I buy FSD, in this case on the Model Y Performance, I'm not buying a Model Y Performance. If I did, then I wouldn't qualify for the tax break.
See, that's that ain't right.
I agree.
That ain't right.
Now, that doesn't stop you from getting a base Model Y and then getting FSD, so I would be covered there. And then I guess I could do like the performance boost. And oh, it won't let Omar in either. Let me resend it. I don't know why it's doing that to everybody. Oh, you know what? I think it's my fault that nobody's getting in. Let's see. Add. Come on, computer. Add. Copy. Paste.
Hey, while you doing MK right quick, I got the text message with alert. Was it Friday? About my premium connection. Premium had expired. Since the time I got my delivery of my flag.
Oh, because it's not even a full year anymore. It's 6 months now. Yeah.
No, it's been a year for me.
Oh, it has been a year.
Yeah, this came up on a year. I'm like, wow. So yeah,
wow.
And my car's almost done. Fabrication thing takes time. If you're gonna do it right, because there's a lot of major safety stuff going on with the batteries, with the roll cage, and I'm just doing everything right, so it won't take away. But he said that the mileage though, I can't complain. I only got 2,000 miles on my car.
Yeah. That's not bad miles.
Hey, Dawood.
Going on?
Good morning, Dawood.
Kacey, what's going on, audience? I made it. I'm in. Thanks.
You made it. Sorry about that. I think I sent them the wrong link.
Thought I was locked out.
No, you were locked out. So
came in through the window.
Eddie says these daily price raises is why I'm sticking to Legacy in my upcoming Bolt upgrade. Well, they're not daily. They're just more than you'd expect. But if you look at it, it's like he told us to expect these, and that's why we keep saying, if you see the one you like, buy it. And that's the problem with them not doing model years. But the beauty of them not doing model years is everybody always feels that they missed out on something. So you don't feel like, man, I should have got the 2023. No, the guy who bought the 2023 is going to say, man, I wish I waited three more weeks. But then on the flip side, you got folks like myself and our friend Jen saying, man, I'm glad I got this old one because it's got all this stuff as standard. I don't have to pay monthly for it. And like the air-conditioned seats I have, well, not air-conditioned, but the ventilated seats I have, they were gone for a while. Yep. Lee says, hey, fellas, and happy Sunday. Yes, hey, Lee. Thank you.
Lee.
Let me say right quick, when they came out with the lights, at first I was like, they come out with the new lights on the plan. I'm like, what? But then I saw the back. I'm not a big person. I'm not a big fan of it. I like the way the older back was. So
yeah,
I take it. But then the price that I got mine was,
and that's one that comes up a lot. Is like when any little change to your order would make the price go to the current price. People are like, yeah, I don't like blue as much, but man, getting that red isn't worth $20,000. I'll take blue. I'll put a wrap on it.
Yeah.
Keith, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. And Robert says hello to everybody. And Keith says subscription is the only way to go for as long as that price doesn't go up. So here I think this is what Tesla is trying to get us to do is to get us.
Yeah. I was going to say, there's an Omar down there. I couldn't see.
Yeah, there's Omar down there.
Hello to everybody. Yes, sir.
So I do think that that this is the goal of Tesla, is to actually get us onto subscriptions, because then they make money for as long as you own the car rather than the one pop. Because if I buy this car in 2018 and I ride it till the warranty is gone or longer, they only got that one 7,000, 8,000, whatever it was from me, and they don't get any more for FSD. But if they're charging me $200 a month now, and then going up to what, $250, $230, whatever they decide to do next, they will get that for that same term, and they will make more money after currently after year 6. But after they raise the price, I bet you it'll be a lot closer. Because what did we say last time we did the math, Omar? Was it 3 or 4 years of ownership? And you paid it off?
For the
Oh,
subscription?
for the same, versus the subscription. I think it was like 3 years.
Yeah.
No, right now it's for 15,000.
But now for 15K, that's just a little different.
Yeah.
It's a different
So
calculation.
that's and the subscription is what, 200 a month?
Yeah.
Right, but
Divided-
you have to expect the subscription number to go up as well.
Right, but if we just
Okay.
assume it didn't go up, how much is it now?
And that's 75 months divided by 12. You paid off in 6.25 years.
6.25 years. Yep. So they're going to raise that up because some people do keep their cars for 6 years, and
Yeah.
they want all their money. But they also, like, for those of us that do hang on to it, they want to keep making it.
Right. So now that the price is going up, I'm thinking I need to go ahead and buy that EAP now.
Yes,
Because
because
the EAP is still 6K.
right, because that makes it cheaper to enter into FSD when you are ready for FSD, and it has almost all the features anyway.
That's
Right. I probably won't even get FSD. I'll probably just do the EAP and just leave
Right.
it at that.
And you can just rent FSD when you're in a strange town.
Right.
So I'm an EAP right now.
Yeah.
So I guess after the increase, I'm going to go up to like what, 10,000 to go FSD.
Yep.
Jeez Louise. I think I'm gonna be subscribing.
Just remember that subscription may go up too. So
it will.
May.
He already said that.
But since you have EAP, you should get half price on that
That's-
subscription.
Yeah.
So
Possibly. Okay.
not as big a hit.
I don't know. Yeah, it really depends. I mean, because I didn't plan on I don't know what I don't think I was gonna keep my car after I get my Cybertruck. I was gonna probably trade it and get the Cybertruck. But man, if
That's
I
why I'm
can get
hoping.
they really crack full self-driving, and it'll be worth. Then I just paid the 10 grand and just put the thing on the network and just keep
Right.
it.
Right.
And let that thing make that money back for you. Plus some.
Exactly.
So I'm hoping that they honor our price on the Cybertruck. People who were able to pick FSD as an option on their order. But we'll see. We'll see what happens because we already know Elon already told us they're not going to keep the price on the truck, but I hope they keep the price on the FSD.
Now,
And
did I hear a rumor about something about maybe they won't allow personal vehicles to go on the network, that Tesla will just control the network themselves?
that seemed to have been their plan, but then Ryan, what was Ryan's group? The Kilowatts suggested that what if I want to be a vehicle steward? Get the car, come back to base, change the tires, clean the back seats, and put it back out there, and charge it up. Elon said that's a really good idea. Again, he doesn't think like a normal person at all, because when he was describing it, that's what the guy in the back was shouting about. Like, hey, I want to buy 100 of these things, and Elon's like, why would you do that? Because Elon was thinking that
You're the only one that wants to make money,
right? And Elon said, fine, sure, you can do it if you want to. But then after this questioning from the Kilowatts, which was exactly the same line of questioning, I think it finally clicked in his head. He's like, oh, you mean I could make the money from the rides and share it with you, and then not have to own the car on the books? Like, he didn't say any of this, but you can see he finally understood what these two people were asking him. And
you sell me the car, and then we just pay. You just get a cut of each ride.
Exactly.
But
hopefully a smaller cut than me because I'm out there risking
it. I would hope so.
Yeah. And this is part of the reason why they removed leasing on all their cars, or not leasing, but removed lease purchasing on all their cars, because they are that much more confident that they'll be able to find a use for all these vehicles when they get turned in.
So
in the short term,
go
ahead.
So what are they doing with them now? Because that was
in the short term, they're taking advantage of the used car market and making gobs of money hand over fist. But the original plan was to shove them in boring tunnels and to get them into robotaxis.
Okay, because I remember all leases were 1 year, so those
they
cars have all come back.
Yeah, yes. And then they also had the only the 3 and the Y you couldn't buy, but now you can't buy the S or the X after the lease either.
Okay. All right. So then
Well, they also decided that they're going to start using Teslas to replace their mobile service fleet with as
Finally.
well.
I had
So they're trying to-
2017 or 2016 black Model X pull up to service my baby's window when not the car, but the window where Motoco sits didn't go down anymore, and so another Model X showed up, and so you got two cars out front of the townhouse, with the wings up, same color. Only difference was he had the big wheels, and it looked cool because I remember when I first got the Model S, and finally they made Ranger service, so it was $100 to visit. People would make fun of me because a little Ford van had visited to fix my electric car, and then eventually mobile service became free, and so then the van showed up a lot more because I was trying to get all my warranty work done, and and so people would give me trouble over it all the time. They'd say like, "Oh well, why is that little Ford van coming? The gas can't make it." And
yeah, that stuff.
so now you get a Model S or Model X showing up to work on your car.
Just have to remind people that horse and buggies built the railroad.
They did.
So,
Absolutely, they did.
you couldn't build a railroad with trains.
Right.
right. and when gas cars first took over, like there was the same argument was made. Well, where are you going to fuel that thing up at? Where are you going to fuel that up? I could just feed my horse, but where are you going to fuel that thing up?
Yeah.
That was a big.
I can't ride that thing drunk. I can ride my horse drunk.
Right.
Don't ride your horse drunk. You'll still get a ticket for that.
Horse and buggies brought
and
the
the other
gas
argument,
stations.
The other argument we came up to, that thing's going to kill everybody. Why would you want to drive that fast, go anywhere that fast?
Yeah.
It's going to be killing everybody left and right. Everybody's going to get killed.
The first speeding ticket at 25 miles an hour was issued to an electric car.
Oh, yeah. It's fast. Those things are fast. It's going like 25. It's going to kill everybody.
So dangerous. I mean, I have to get my horse up to full sprint to get to 25. Bennett says, I figured paying as part of the car payment and paying the subscription fee were about the same, so I added it up front to get delivery earlier. So that was my thinking, that as well as the fact that my insurance company said that if I buy it after the fact, or if subscriptions weren't even an option when I bought it, if I buy it after the fact, they would not give me anything back. So I said, well, might as well cut it up into the number of payments I have and just put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I wonder if you can do this. I wonder if you can do it through like your homeowners. So, you can have a rider on your homeowners for like jewelry or something like that, and just have a separate policy for it.
Perhaps.
I mean, it's a $15,000 thing.
Yeah, now it is. I put it in the car and they took it from me.
Right. And so you get an accident and then you just do a what you call claim through your homeowners to get that part covered.
So their argument was that that if it shows up on the window sticker, then it was part of the car, and they could justify it. But it depends on your insurance. Everybody's is different. Robert said he saw the bigger Eevee van this week, and they were trying to put plates on bikes. Interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely the subscription. Before we go too much further, did any of you guys want to talk about the FSD stopping crashes and stopping personal injury, or the rebuttal to the liar, or the e-muscle?
I just think that Elon should definitely get his team of lawyers. Tesla needs to get their team of lawyers to go ahead and go after these people, sue them for libel, and just like for slander, for libel, for whatever they need to sue.
Lying about being a politician.
Get sued. Just sue the pants off of them.
Yeah,
that's what needs to happen.
Definitely.
E-muscle is interesting. I have one of my employees has a Camaro, and it's just so there's so much culture associated with muscle cars. They're not for transportation. They're for they're for a show, that you buy them as a show car.
Yeah,
it has to make that noise. It has to. There's so much vernacular around it. She calls my car growls. It barks.
Oh man.
Your car is too quiet. You need to be able to tune them and all these kind of things. So for for e-muscle cars to come out, we'll see. They'll certainly. I'm sure they certainly went on the track. They won't. You won't be able to handle them on a track. But I think it's the weirdest thing is going to happen. And this is a little aside, but I was on Quicken, entering transactions in my Quickens to handle my personal finance. My daughter was next to me, and every time you enter a transaction, it goes ka-ching, ka-ching. And so she asked me, she said, "Dad, why does it make that sound?"
Right.
And it just hit me that she never heard a cash register.
Oh, right.
So can you imagine generation from now?
Cash registers, like she didn't understand why that specific sound. What was the significance?
What did it mean?
Yeah.
So when someone shows up in these cars, 15 years from now, it's like, why does this electric car make this noise?
Yeah.
Is it broken?
Why is it so loud? What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with that car? Something's wrong with it.
Yeah.
It'd probably be cheaper if you take the noisemaker off.
Right. Hey, Dad, I bought this used car, but it's so much louder than yours. What's all of yours I've ever seen? What's up with this?
So I guess, it's needed to get people over my age to buy them, but in one generation that'll just go away.
Oh yeah. Well, especially if they don't have a I'm really hoping there's an automatic feature for the wake the neighbors feature to get geofenced out. Like if you're driving through a neighborhood and there's been complaints, or if you're driving through a place where they have noise ordinances, where it lowers itself to actually be compatible with the noise ordinances, because right now the existing ones don't give a flip about anybody else's peace and quiet.
The existing ones also can't alter or change their volume because it's not coming out of a speaker.
The Mustang has the classic Mustang has that make it louder button on the big motor.
Oh yeah.
Well, you can go. This may be kind of big brother, but you could go so far as to control it remotely, where once you enter an area, you don't have to do anything. Once it goes in, then the local ordinance controls that car. The owner has nothing to do with it. You just can't turn it up.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It needs to be that way because the folks who they are appealing to with that, it's loud enough to wake the neighbors. Those folks are never going to turn it down. They're going to be like, "Yeah, I'm a jerk. Yeah. Wake up! I don't care. You just put that baby down for sleep. I don't care that your dog gets PTSD."
I pull up at the supercharger and it automatically goes to 20%. 80%.
Right, 80%. Yeah. Sorry, this supercharger is full. We can't allow you to do that.
So
yeah. I got to one last night that had the clock on it. It was one of the first 5-stall version 3s I've seen before. I've seen them in multiples of 2, but I've never seen an odd number at the V3s before.
Oh, really?
And it said there's a wait, and I got there, and there was a guy who just pulled out, so I pulled in, and then there was a Model 3. He had to wait 10 minutes because, but it did try to route me around it, but it tried to route me to a 72 kilowatt supercharger, and I was like, I'll wait.
I'm not going to the mall today.
I'm not going to the mall. I will do a 150, but I won't do a 72 when I'm traveling. Plus they're usually in a paid parking garage.
Speaking of supercharger, I want to get you guys a video. I'll get it for you hopefully next week or the week after. That when we used to do the happy hour, I'd be in my car supercharger while my kids were at Kumon, and it turns out that there's construction right next to the supermarket that's in the same complex. And my wife just told me today that they're building more superchargers there.
Nice.
So I want to show you where I usually charge, where the new superchargers are, and how much more convenient this is to go into the supermarket and getting my kids from Kumon. So now when I'm supercharging and in happy hour, I don't have to unplug to drive over to get them. Now they can just walk to the car without having to cross the street.
Sweet.
I like it.
More charges everywhere.
Yes, keeps getting better. Keeps getting better.
It does.
Yep.
Yeah. So then we also talked about some of the improvements for 10.69, and I saw exactly two videos on it. I saw one person's car making a right-hand turn, and it wanted to creep, and they now have it looks like in the video games, like the finish line's like a hazy blue, like a finish line looking thing, and so the car will creep up to that line to check and see if it's clear. Because right now on the version that almost everybody else has, when it wants to creep forward to make a left or a right, it says creeping forward, and you don't know when it's going to stop. I mean, you have an idea that it'll probably stop at the edge of the road, but it doesn't always, so you can't trust that it will this time. And so now it shows you what it's doing, and I like that. And then one of the videos was Chuck was doing his left turn, Chuck's left turn, and it still looked like it could use some improvement, but man, did it look so much better than anything in the past. And so that might be what Elon's talking about with the 10.69.1 and 10.69.2. I'm hoping I get it soon though, because man, I've got some testing to do. Yeah. Let's see what Robert's showing us here. Oh, he's showing us the Vauxhall van. Yeah, so that was one of the ones I was talking about that Dodge could use to save them from getting cut by Stellantis, since they already sell that van as the Ram ProMaster. But we'll see what they actually do. But when I was looking into it, I think it's only going to have 120 mile range when they come in, just like the E-Transit, which, I mean, yes, that works for a lot of industries, but as Patrick said, you know, Tesla doesn't have to. Their advantage is they didn't have to compete with themselves. So let the Cyber van come out, and these 150, 200 mile or less vans. I mean, 200 miles would be fine, but these 100-ish mile vans are going to look ridiculous, and he'll probably come up with them before they can react.
Yeah,
other
but
than
you
the
know
bright
what?
drop. Yeah.
It may be similar to the Leaf, right?
Yeah.
When the Nissan Leaf first came out, that thing's 100 miles or less of range, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then Tesla came out and it's blowing that out the water with like it's 250 miles of range.
Yeah.
However, it was such a huge price disparity that
Right.
people still enjoyed their Leafs
Right.
for a long time before Tesla could finally come up with something that was just a little bit more affordable that people started really gravitating towards.
Yeah.
So
But
now,
I think at the prices that these companies are charging for their EV vans, the Tesla wouldn't be a huge step up for the amount of miles you get. Like the Bright Drop, if you could get it, is the only one I've seen that is a reasonable range compared to everything that's on the market right now.
well, yeah, but my point is like, okay, so if a van that's out right now that costs like that has like 100 and something mile range, let's say that van cost, let's just say
60,000.
$60,000,
Yeah.
right? Tesla will probably come out with one that's like 80,000 that has like the, you know,
double the range or more.
250 mile range or something like that, right? So for those that need the range, that need that use case, yeah, they're going to gravitate towards Tesla. But if that range was enough and it was just like just enough, and they're probably going to stick with the cheaper one.
Yeah.
For a little while.
Well, yeah, like Dan and us were discussing. He pointed out that the school buses, they don't need as much range as they tend to give them because they only go 100 miles in a day on a really bad day.
Right.
Unless it's a school field trip.
Right, but then you would take the diesel pusher, or if you're leaving the state, you would take a coach, a tour bus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Depending on if it's illegal to take that bus into the next state, sometimes it is because the requirements are all over the map.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what do we have next on this list here? That was Elon. That was the stuff. That was the. So did both of you guys see the one where the car stopped saved that person's legs?
No. Saved the person's legs? I don't remember seeing that one.
All right, let me pull it back up again. For those of you who already saw it, I'm just going to do the video rather than go through the AI tweets again. There we go.
Should we see it now? Because I don't.
Let's load it up. Here we go. All right, so this video here, 40 of these a day. Autopilot is stopping today. Wrong pedal. Instead of the brake, he's hitting the accelerator. And then the wall.
Wow.
Was it raining? Like, what did I see? It looked like something flew
That's
off.
like water droplets fell off the car.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm like, did water fly off the car because it stopped so suddenly? Because it kind of looked like, it almost looked like broken glass, but I'm like, nah, that can't be it because it stopped. It didn't hit anything.
That's what I thought at first.
So this person hit the gas
the wrong
accelerator, hit the wrong pedal, but then the car stopped.
The car
on its
stopped
own.
anyway. It saved it knew something, person was there and it said, nope, not hitting nobody, not today. That's great.
And this one had none of the so autopilot was not engaged. It just
No, because they were going in reverse.
right. Huh. All right. We seem to have lost Kacey, so we're running the show on our own.
That's okay. So it happens. He'll be back, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No technical difficulty.
But yeah, mine
so
does
yeah,
that.
so-
Mine doesn't do that. I guess nobody's ever been behind me. I'll back
Well,
up.
maybe it does. You just didn't know it. You've never hit the wrong pedal and did that to yourself.
I have, but
But did you hit anything?
I might have bumped into something. It wasn't a person, but I have bumped into things. I have bumped into something before. I'll put it that way. So yeah.
Oh well, maybe it's an improvement. They're always making
It must be because mine definitely did not. It did not stop. No, because I was actually parallel parking and got the I hit the right pedal, but I was in the wrong drive mode. Thought I was in drive, but I was in reverse.
in drive, but you were in reverse.
Yes. So
Gotcha.
slammed it because I was on a hill. So slammed it to try to keep from falling back, and actually I was already in reverse and bumped the car behind me. So I don't know. Maybe it was a newer update to help with something like that. But
that's the thing. They're always constantly making improvements, and we're always constantly getting updates. And
right.
The only thing is they don't always tell us what those updates are.
Yeah.
And usually when you look at the notes in that version and you don't see anything, and it's just like.
And performance racing team joined.
We just lose everybody?
Yeah, it does that every once in a while.
Okay. It looks like we're back.
It writes up Kacey. But yeah, it'll say bug fixes.
It just say bug fixes. So a lot of times that's improvements to autopilot. And they're just not telling us what exactly those improvements are because there's a bunch of just things rolled in. So
I like that when you're upside down,
they're
Kacey.
not going to share the secret sauce of how their autopilot is programmed.
Right. Okay.
Welcome back, Kacey.
Welcome back, yeah.
It became the Omar show, the Daoud Omar show, But word up. Yeah, but that pricing, the pricing overall, I had a little bit of a talk with a friend of mine who had an order in for a Model Y, and she thinks she's just going to lose her $250 because she's just like, I just can't justify it. The price is just too much.
Price is an issue, It is.
Yeah. Okay, I can hear Omar. I can't hear Kacey, and I also think I can't hear Marcus.
Oh, can you hear me?
Okay, unless I can
hear
hear you, Marcus, now.
I can hear Dawood.
Let's try this again.
There we go. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can we all hear each other now?
Yes.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Sweet. All right, we're all back.
and the Mac rebooted, which was not the way to go. So I'll change the batteries after this.
Why does your computers always want to reboot while you're in the middle of a show?
Mac or PC, it doesn't matter. They all do it to me. The only one that hasn't done it is the tablets, but I can't. They're not as effective for using it for the tablet. So, thank you, Henders. Welcome back. Bennett said I was Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, when you were upside down.
Yeah.
When you first came back. But the funny thing is, I'm the one with the Venom shirt.
Right? Dan said, did someone saw the van? And okay, so sorry, go ahead and continue. I was asking about the autopilot saving people, and then I disappeared. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, autopilot didn't save me from bumping a car when I was trying to parallel park, but that was a couple years ago, so it may be newer updates.
Right. They might not have understood what was going on. Yeah.
Right. And if this was autopilot, well, it's autopilot, so every car has it.
Yep.
So yeah, it's not full
Safety
self-driving.
features. Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
But what's funny is, so I was driving my car with autopilot engaged yesterday, and I was coming up, kind of, the road was a little curvy, right? But there was another road where cars could come in, but they had a stop sign. I did not. So I'm coming through, and I saw a car coming through, and I'm watching him, but then there was like some bushes, so it was like hard to see. But I'm like looking at the speed that he was initially coming up to that stop sign. I didn't think he was going to stop. So I was like fully prepared and ready just in case. And sure enough, he didn't stop. He comes right in front of me. Autopilot didn't slam on the brakes or anything. I slammed on the brakes, and then blew the horn at him, like laid on the horn, all ticked off and everything, because the guy was real reckless, didn't just disregarding the stop sign. But had I not intervened, I believe I would have T-boned the guy.
Right.
And now we got two doubles. No, now we got one. All right.
It's the tech issues day. Yeah.
But just earlier that same day, autopilot had kicked in and stopped, and like it slammed on the brakes. So somebody came across into my lane. We were on a highway situation. The person came across into my lane, and autopilot slammed on the brakes and stopped that guy from hitting me. And he was recklessly, swapping lanes real fast, trying to get ahead, trying to get two cars ahead in traffic or whatever.
Right.
So it's interesting. Like sometimes I guess I react faster, and sometimes autopilot reacts faster, and it's probably more so because I'm anticipating, because I'm seeing what somebody else is doing, anticipating ahead before they do it. And I think autopilot's just reacting when they do it, like when it sees that they're doing it. I don't know, it's just interesting. But I think pretty soon autopilot's going to get just as good as human drivers as far as predicting, if they get that AI working the way they want to.
Exactly. All right, so let's do a lightning round on some of this news we've got, because not all of it requires us to share the screen to wait on it. So Giga Berlin received EU approval to produce the Model Y with the BYD structural pack, and that is really cool because so far the only structural packs they've used are the 4680s made by Tesla, and I'm thinking that these are going to be the BYD prismatic packs, because as I said in the past, you can make a structural pack out of anything, but it doesn't make sense for Tesla to make them themselves out of anything but their cylindrical 4680s, because then you need a machine or a setting for each of the different sizes of batteries. So that's probably why they didn't want to do the 2170s, even though they could.
I don't know. I think maybe BYD is making them cylindrical for Tesla.
They could, because that's a big enough order to
make
be
them
worth
to their
it.
specs.
Yeah,
like remember, Elon previously said, we'll buy as many batteries as anybody will build, as long as alongside of also making all of our own, right? So
yeah.
they need a massive amount of batteries. So you put a big, huge enough order that makes it worth their while. You know what? Yeah, I'll make them the way you want them. We'll make them spec. Here you go. At the same time, it is BYD, so they're probably willing to do that, so they can learn, the secret sauce in Tesla's batteries, so they can then turn around and use it in their own vehicles. Because remember, BYD makes a lot of electric vehicles themselves.
Yeah. At least thanks for joining the show. Thank you. Thank you for having me. So we mentioned at the beginning of the show how Australia and New Zealand were finally getting themselves some Model Ys. On the heels of that was on the heels of the news that Tesla China had another monster batch of exports from Tesla China. So that's probably where they came from. It makes the most sense. It's the closest to send them straight on down.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah. Tesla is touring Spain for test drives in local communities, very similar to how myself and probably Omar first got in you too, because you got a 2012, Marcus. Remember Tesla was running these traveling showmen, and you could test drive the Model S.
That's where I got that poster from. Behind
Yeah. So you've been there. Yeah.
Yes.
And my first drive was in the P85 Plus. I think pushed my brain back in my head. I was like, ooh, busy.
Yeah.
I must have.
Yes, I was very impressed with my test drive of Tesla, and that's when the light bulb went off. Ding! This makes sense. I gotta have it.
Yeah. So now they're doing that in
sells
Spain.
the car.
Exactly. You don't need Super Bowl ads. Somebody needs to experience it. So
are they doing it back out in you all's area? Test drives?
They didn't
Not
really
anymore.
stop for us. Yeah, they didn't really stop for us.
I think they have enough demand now.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that background.
I gotta make a run with my wife, but she agreed to drive the car so I can stay on a little longer.
Get chauffeured.
So I'm on my phone Wi-Fi, so I don't know if it's going to be as effective. We'll see.
It might drop when you leave the house, but it'll pick back up when you get on cellular.
Well, I'm already on the cellular.
Okay, perfect. So
hopefully it works.
We touched on the Model 3 long-range order stop last week, and has anybody else heard or felt anything more about it since last week?
Haven't heard anything else since last week.
I haven't heard anything new about it.
Okay. All right. We talked about Germany saying
my
that
brother,
it's okay.
I'm trying to get him to get but he's the standard range.
Okay.
Your brother's looking at standard range. Okay.
Yeah. We talked about how Tesla could keep using the terms autopilot and full self-driving in Germany.
Yeah, he's the standard range.
Wait, is your brother thinking about waiting a little bit before ordering the standard range since the new tax incentive is going to take effect for that? I mean, because the standard range, I think, isn't that eligible?
Yeah.
I think the standard range is isn't it too expensive to have to lower it by like 3,000 if it's gonna work?
Oh,
it
I
might
that
be
was the long range. Okay.
50 grand.
For a standard range is 50 grand?
Oh no, 50 grand is the credit.
I thought 55 was the cutoff.
Oh, 55? Okay.
Yeah, 55K is the cutoff. How much
And
is
then
the standard range?
and then the long range was just a tad too high for that.
Long range was too high, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Tesla's opening their 4th Austin showroom, despite the fact that they're not allowed to sell cars there. So they didn't say the word gallery in the article, but I'm assuming it's a gallery because it's Texas, right, Marcus?
Yeah.
I
think it's wordplay. From what I heard, they got to use certain things.
I mean, I'm glad for the employees and the customers in Texas, but man, I think that was a terrible choice to go there without any assurances from that governor trying to get up his skirt. This is my friend Elon.
It looks like the rear-wheel drive standard range Model 3 is at 47K.
Okay, so you can get that with some options.
That would qualify, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't get it with FSD, but you can get it with some other things.
Right. Rent that FSD.
Yeah. After the fact.
Exactly. Tesla is reportedly improving Nevada battery plant production by 10%. That's good. Giga Shanghai is now up to 95% local supply chain. Also good. Shipping parts all over the world. There was a little blip in the system where Tesla was offering Tesla membership for 99 cents in the U.S. If you remember that in the States, in the countries where they offer the universal supercharger access, like the Netherlands, Norway, etc., where you can plug in your CCS car to the supercharger network, it's around $20 equivalent a month, and that brings you down to they call it lower pricing, but currently that lower price is the same price that the Tesla owners pay, but they call it lower. That reserves them the ability to just make it lower than their walk-up price, but not the same as the Tesla price. So I think that the 99 cents of it showing up was an accident, like it was testing. Normally, when you test these things and they could possibly show up in the public, you make them so expensive that only fools would try and buy them. Instead, they made it so cheap that nobody would risk not buying it. So a handful of people tried it. It didn't show a charge on their credit card. It didn't show anything in their app, and it disappeared from the app. I guess when they had 10,000 signups for 99-cent membership. So that may mean that the U.S. superchargers availability opening is going to be coming soon. It may only be at the ones where they've applied for government money. We don't know, and that's most of that. Unless you guys have anything to add on it.
No, I think that's covered.
Then the Bridgewater Police Department reported that their Tesla patrol car is performing better than expected.
There's a shocker.
Right? What it's costing us monthly currently for charging is basically what we've been spending in 3 days in fuel on a gas car. It's actually performing better than what we were expecting, and I can tell you with all the emergency equipment and electronics in it, it's going for a full couple of shifts basically before it needs to be recharged. How about that?
There it is. Proof of concept. It works.
So again, I think that chief out of the UK must have been a Nissan Leaf fleet, because that's what was in the picture, and he's the only chief of police I've seen that has gone electric that complained about it.
Right. Well, if you do the first gen Leaf,
right,
and you had less than 100 miles of range to begin with, and you add enough extra electronics and more load to it, and then yeah, it's probably not going to be a great experience.
Even Luxembourg did Model S's and Model X's. They didn't do Leafs. It's not the greatest size of country, but you do want to be able to get through your shift.
And you get more performance out of a Tesla too.
Yeah, you can actually use it as a pursuit vehicle. The Bridgewater mayor has this to say. He says Tesla expected to say the Tesla is expected to save at least $5,000 per year, and that is in service. And we're expecting it to actually be in service for about 2 years longer than its gas equivalent, just because of reduced maintenance. Nice. It's rare that you also get the mayor involved and saying good things too. That's nice. I like it. Yeah. So.
Yep.
Moving on, we've got. That's not relevant. Well, actually, yeah, that's not relevant. Nor is that. So let's go on to these next ones. Tesla manages to cut delivery times in China after upgrading Gigafactory Shanghai. I think that's what we're going to start to see when Giga Austin comes into its own, which it's already doing 1,000 cars a week. I think we'll start to see Model Y order times come back down from their very currently floaty numbers. Eddie says, I finally saw a black Tesla using the CCS charger at the Crenshaw lot. Previously using Chatamo. Yeah, because right now you have to jump through steps to get CCS on Tesla in the US. So it would make sense.
I think aren't the newer Teslas, like the brand new ones, aren't they coming CCS enabled? Or
they are, but you still have to obtain an adapter.
Right, you still got to get the adapter, but like
they're much easier to get it.
It's not even enabled. So,
right, so you and me have to do all kinds of steps. You have to get a new board and then wire it in. I have to get a new board and then trick the computer into thinking I had an authorized update, because it's still a Tesla part, but you have to get the update. And right now Tesla doesn't want to sell it here, so they won't give you the update. And without the update, you can't AC charge and you can't supercharge.
And I don't know why they would do that, because if it would, to me, it would make sense to go ahead. You know what? You want to retrofit that and upgrade yours? Go ahead. Here, we'll give it to you, because this gets you off of our network. They're giving you another option, so you can charge on our network. But if you want to charge on somebody else's network, go right on ahead.
Right, you can pay more, and
it frees up a slot on ours. You like I don't know why that wouldn't.
Right, like it doesn't hurt them.
I don't know why they wouldn't do that. Yeah, it doesn't hurt them.
They must make enough profit off of supercharging.
Well, I guess, since they raised those prices.
Right. And then Lee points out that Tesla's too expensive for them. So the Crenshaw lot is free charging. So
I
very well
think
could be
referring to the police departments.
Oh,
So the Tesla
Oh,
is
the
more,
UK police department. It might be.
well, the Tesla is more expensive than the traditional
It
vehicles that
is.
they would normally be purchasing. However, when you look at the fuel costs and the maintenance costs that you would be saving with the Tesla, it will quickly balance out within the first
Right.
year.
And that's what everybody keeps telling us. They're like, man, I save so much on fuel and tires and maintenance, and like that's what every single one of these police departments, except that one, tells us about the EVs. And like Lee said, like, with it being too expensive for them, we've seen this behavior in friends and family. They say, "Oh, I hate Tesla, I hate Musk, blah blah blah." It's really because they couldn't afford the Tesla, and that's the one they wanted. So maybe it's the same behavior as this police chief. Oh, I don't like it because we can't afford it. I'm not saying that I mean, I can't afford the GM Hummer. I think that's a nice truck, but I'm not gonna say it's bad truck. I might say it's inefficient. I might say it doesn't seem practical, but I'm not gonna say it's a bad truck just because I can't afford it.
Good point you make right there.
But that's me.
People are like that out here. People are like that out here. Believe it
People
or
do
not.
that.
It is. I witnessed myself.
Yeah. They're just hating on it. So Tesla confirms plan to launch electricity retail business in Texas. The writing was kind of on the wall for that one. They applied and they got approved, and then they did the virtual power plant thing, and so it's good to see confirmation that they're following through on that. BYD aims to conquer world markets as the un-Tesla. Let's see you pass the U.S. crash test and then come on over. Electrify all the things, as I say. The framing of that, you heard me read the headline, that framing is coming from Bloomberg, who seems to think that all electric cars need to be at fight. Somebody's interrupted their nap here. I'm sorry, sweetie. Tesla China is to launch improved Model 3 variants with 10% longer range using the LFP batteries. So remember, the battery technology gets about 5% better every year. So they'll either make them cheaper or they'll give you more power, more range, or both. And it sounds like Cattle is now offering those improved batteries to Tesla. So that's why the standard range Model 3 and in China is expected to get 10% more range. That's 2 years worth of improvements. BMW is going to have Tesla-like cylindrical batteries for its new EVs. Let's take a look at that one here. And by Tesla-like, I assume they just mean 4680s. But it could just be cylindrical, like the 2170s, because remember that BMW used to use, I don't know if they used pouches or prismatics, like with the hard sides. And then they would shove a bunch of them into boxes, and they'd shove a bunch of those boxes with the modules into the whole pack. And then they used something like an air conditioner coolant to keep them cool, rather than a water loop like every other manufacturer that does this, or a fan like Nissan did in the NV400, NV200 van, or like they are currently doing with I don't know if the Aria is air cooled or water cooled, but the Aria finally has some cooling, whereas the current Leafs are still they call them air cooled, but they don't even have a fan, so they're ambient cooled, radiative cooling. So Teslarati is talking about how BMW is now using cylindrical cells like everybody else. Well, I say everybody else, but everybody else who's serious about this, I should say. Yeah, because they've been using prismatics. Reuters hinted that the EV's batteries will be supplied to BMW would likely be similar in size to 4680s. There you go. I can see it, because it seems that like when Tesla went 2170, Rivian went 2170, and then everybody started going right behind them on the 2170. So why would you not take that free market research and go 4680 when everybody else does? Just like
Exactly.
yeah, like McDonald's does a site survey, values the town, gets a street corner. Burger King comes right by wherever McDonald's just opened up, and it costs them half as much.
Well, I mean, it totally makes sense. If the R&D was already done, well, Tesla's the industry leader. Okay, they've done all this R&D, all this research and everything, and they determined that this is the best way for them to go. Why would not just do the same thing they're doing?
Exactly. So Eddie, you can get more physical cells in easily with rectangles, but when you look at the inside of the cell, you've got the heat that you got to get out, you got the resistance and the performance. The cylindrical cells offer the best balance of all the trade-offs you have in a cell, and so doing them as cylindrical instead of prismatic actually saves you money, gets you performance, and saves you weight, because don't forget, weight is another problem of these mobile platforms. You don't need them as much on a battery backup for a house. Like my battery backup here uses prismatics, and it weighs 100 pounds, but it doesn't need to go anywhere on a regular basis. Yeah.
But the can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. It's not just the form factor though. There's a lot that goes into Tesla's 4680s that make them more efficient.
Yeah,
The-
the chemistry, the anode, the cathode. Yeah.
Right, the tablets design. I mean, if they're just going to make a big, D cell battery,
Yeah.
it's not the same.
Hopefully they would take as many of those things as they can that weren't patented and improve their process, because one of the things that Elon pointed out is making it bigger can make it harder to get rid of the heat if you don't do it right. Yeah.
Right. So they have the tablets design, which allows the electron to go straight through instead of
Right.
circling around.
So it's
Yeah,
generating less heat, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Robert says the weather is better where he's at. It's good to see, because it was a scorcher last time.
Oh yeah, last time it was crazy.
All right, so then
Glad you got some improvement there, Robert.
definitely. Reuters is reporting that that Tesla is having to give the U.S. is seeking more information from Tesla on in-camera autopilot probe. Actually, this seems different. What'd you bring us here, Dan? This is not what I thought it was. I like it. Let's take a look. All right, so U.S. seeks information from Tesla on in-car camera autopilot probe. Got a nice little picture of the interior there. Tesla Model 3 on autopilot navigates along 405 in Westminster on March 16th. And that is not necessarily the FSD beta, because on that highway it's using the classic stack for navigate on autopilot. Cars are parked in the employee parking lot at Tesla's factory on March 18th of 2020. Yeah, there weren't too many Model 3s to be had back then. They were all going out the door. I love how they just here you go. We make electric cars. You can charge your car when you get to work. All right, so regulators on Thursday asked Tesla to answer questions about the in-car camera intended to monitor driver awareness as part of a probe into 830,000 Tesla vehicles that employ the vehicle's advanced driver assistance program called Autopilot. And we've seen that the in-car camera, for those of you that have it, has become more aggressive. For those of you in the beta, some folks who will touch their phone at a red light, all of a sudden find themselves with 3 strikes, like that, without even moving. So clearly, there's
I've noticed in this latest update, the in-car camera has become more aggressive for my car. So like if I pick up my cell phone or something or whatever in the car driving, like it immediately gives me the warning, boop boop boop, like touch the wheel.
Pay attention. Yeah.
It wants my attention.
Yeah.
Like immediately.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was still a bit of delay before it did that. Now it's just like right away, just like, hey bozo, pay attention. Yeah.
Right. And as Dawood pointed out, he and I don't have one on our cars, but his wife and Smoke,
Right,
and Omar's car, they do have them. Yeah.
Thanks for pointing that out, Kacey, because I'm driving myself crazy here because my wife is driving, so my brain is automatically thinking we're in her car. So
Right.
I'm like trying to figure out why there's no camera here. It finally hit me. We're in my car.
Right.
Where's the camera? But you're right. It is more aggressive, and it seems to know when I reach for my cell phone, I get the warning much faster.
Yes. Like, what are you doing? You pay attention to the road, and that means that
I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
It's like exactly.
And that's what we want. The whole reason it was there was to make it safer and to get rid of the whole, oh, I'm a bed tester on the road, I didn't volunteer to be, blah blah blah, all that crap. Because if you're not paying attention, then how can you know when the car is messing up? So it makes sense. And then eventually, whenever the car does get its operating permit to run on its own, they will then use the camera to determine who vandalized any cars and left a mess. Yeah, it was passenger number 2. See, there's where he dropped the soda or did something else. But in the meantime, it's making sure that you are paying attention to the road.
And
So
not only does it do that right away, also
Yeah.
one of the things I noticed is like one time I picked up my cell phone, I was looking at it, it starts beeping. Okay, so I grab the wheel, wiggle the wheel a little bit, let it know. Okay, I understand. Don't worry, I'm still paying attention. I'm here. And I went right back to my phone immediately right away. It started beeping again. It was like,
yes,
no. You
I meant
obviously
what I
didn't get
said.
the message.
Right. I said what I meant.
said.
Yeah. So the NHTSA says it's seeking information on the cabin camera's impact on driver engagement, alert types, and timing, as well as recoverable data elements, and is pointing to its influence. So if they're testing the same version that you guys have, I don't think that they're going to have anything bad to say, except if they want to make it less safe by allowing a little more leeway. And then they would have to justify that to the public. Why did you want them to make it less safe? They wanted an explanation for design decisions over driver engagement and enforcement, including evidence that justifies the period of time the driver is permitted to have their hands off the steering wheel before receiving a warning. You've never scratched your nose while driving? Never ate a bite of a sandwich? I mean, I guess that last one, the sandwich, might be, depending on who your driver instructor is, that might be a huge issue. But the people who read the newspaper, do their makeup, that's a little tougher to justify, because if you need 2 hands, then you're not at all safely driving it. But if you're only using 1 hand and you're still looking at the road,
I normally drive with 1 hand, so
Same.
I mean,
same. Even if I'm fully paying attention and there's nothing going on, I'm not eating, not drinking, there's only 1 hand on the wheel, unless
even if
I'm
I'm not
coming up.
using autopilot, I'm usually
Right.
driving with 1 hand. So
Unless it's a really tricky place or it puts me right up within inches of a wall, I am 1-handed that thing.
right.
Especially if I'm on autopilot, because if I 2-hand it, then it's hard to keep the thing balanced to the point where it's not yelling at me to put my hands on the wheel. That is one thing that the Woods car and I do, because we don't have cameras. We get less chances for strikes, and it's more aggressive about making sure that we're actually actively alive on the wheel. Whereas on the cars with cameras, you find people could use those cheat devices, and if they're looking, then it doesn't do a double check as much. But in our case, it's like, that weight is constant. Seems that's not a human fleshy hand there. Let me shock him and see what's going on. Yeah, Robert, that's the way it's supposed to be. Always 2 hands on the wheel. I understand, but I don't do it.
But that's the majority of Americans don't do it.
Right.
I don't know about Europe, but I can tell you.
Well, I know that a lot of the Germans are appalled that we even drink while driving, to the point where, like, what do you need a cup holder for? And I don't mean alcohol. I mean like hydration.
Yeah.
Right. I learned that with my first BMWs.
Yeah.
This is a cup holder? You can't get anything in this thing.
Right. You get a glass of water. You don't even need that. So they wanted
driving.
Yeah, they wanted explanation for driving decisions, and they're reviewing whether Tesla vehicles adequately ensure drivers are paying attention. So if they find that it's not appropriate, they will probably get them to crank it up. But I have a feeling that they'll come away just fine, because not only does Tesla aggressively use their lawyers on some situations, they also run all of their stuff that could get them in trouble, except for Elon speaking, through the lawyers to make sure that they don't bite themselves, which is good.
And you know what? I don't think it's any less aggressive than any of the other auto manufacturers. So
Right, it's either on par or more aggressive than the others. Now it's not doing an infrared. Well, actually, the smoke is doing infrared, but the Model 3s and Model Ys are not doing infrared, looking at your pupils. But the new S and X are actually actively looking at you in the dark. So that they'll do even better. And I love how all these news agencies are just so salty that they can't talk to a PR person. Tesla, which has disbanded its press office, did not respond to a request for comment. Did you tweet at him?
Send Elon a tweet. Send Elon a tweet.
Yes. And they're not wrong, but the way they are just so offended by it shows in the article. It's like even one that writes as neutrally as Reuters does, they just can't help themselves.
now, what's funny is So they tested it back in 2021, and they're like, oh, it's not, fully
Right.
adequate but
Did they test it this year?
a lot has changed since then.
Yes. And part of that was because they were using AI. They didn't want to like your FSD computer is watching you. They didn't want to do pattern matching and all that stuff. They wanted it to be able to learn and grow the same way that it does going around the world. So it just makes sense that it got better as that system got better at understanding the world, that the same system looking at you got better at understanding what you were up to. Yeah. So yeah, like when it initially came out, some people were putting pictures of themselves in front of the camera, and it was thinking that their eyes were open and they were looking at the road. I haven't heard any follow-ups on that experiment anymore. Yeah. So again, this probe I don't think is meant to take Tesla off the road. I think it's meant to make sure that they're as safe as they can be, and to make them safer if they are not. Dan put us to Automotive News, who put an article that I'm not subscribed to. The headline was "New EV tax credits raise a fear of messy scenario in dealer showrooms." Yep, and that was something I pointed out, especially with them. The general rule being that they're tacking on extra credits and stuff, that they might try to take your credit. And now that, in addition to knowing about EVs, now they'll have to know about the credit, which makes them even less likely to want to sell an EV. Why don't you buy this 4-cylinder fossil? It's cheaper and faster. It's faster for you to buy, not faster to own.
We don't want to fill out an extra 2 pages of paperwork.
Right. The owner will, because he'll want that extra $7,500, but I don't know about the rest.
But the dealer won't want any parts of that.
Right. Dan also sent us an article from The Street saying that Rivian gets itself in trouble. The young Tesla rival struggles to mass-produce vehicles. That's not news to us. They're getting better, but they. Okay, so here's the point. They canceled their most affordable vehicles. We appreciate your excitement for our company's products. We haven't updated the fix your pre-order, and we want to make sure that you hear directly from us. Rivian wrote an email reviewed by The Street. In order to deliver as many vehicles as possible, we've made the decision to discontinue the Explorer package. Wow.
Oh.
I didn't realize that happened. We realize this news is unexpected and apologize for how this impacts your plan. So I've been there. Remember, Elon said nobody wants the Model S40. Goodbye. And I didn't have my order in yet because it was a couple more days, and then I would have had a free upgrade to a 60 limited to 40. It seems that Rivian's not able to do that same trick on their Explorer package, so they just canceled it altogether, which is disappointing.
Mass production is hard, and they need to sell at the higher price point. They can't do it for less.
And customers that don't step up or change vehicles by September 1st will be removed from the queue. So you got to find 40 or 20 or 30 grand real quick. And so the Explorer package started at 67, and the price increase will be, so it's not as bad as I said it was. Sorry, the Explorer package started at 67.5, and the increase will be $7,500 if they upgrade to the Adventure package with a quad motor and large batteries. That'll cost $87,000. No, I was right. Because 87 and 67, yeah, that's still a substantial increase of 20 grand. Oh, I see what's happening. So you get they'll do it for $7,500 for you. Instead of paying the full price, you will be paying $79,500. Okay. Well, that's a decent bone to throw, but it's still not a good news to be receiving. It's, hey, I hope you have another 10 grand and you can keep your car. If you don't and you want to get back in line later, it's going to be 20 grand. Yeah. Okay, I get it.
You were mentioning the tax credit earlier for dealerships. It may be an issue with as things change with the tax credit, dealerships having to stay abreast of which cars actually qualify and which cars don't. I'm sure they have people that's supposed to do that, but that could be something that they mess up on, and promise somebody a tax credit that the car does not qualify for, then have to deal with that downstream.
Yeah, so there's probably going to be some training modules on that one for sure. Robert asked if I saw the one where they tried to use face masks to confuse the cabin camera. I saw googly eyes. I saw mirrored sunglasses. I haven't seen any new tests of the new system where they try to. I've only seen people complaining that they got busted by the new system and kicked out of FSD beta. Dan says, since it's an article where Los Angeles International Airport nears completion of 1,300 EV chargers. That is massive and good. All right, so this one is one that I don't know if we covered it last week, but we're going to talk about it now, even if we already did. Sorry. All right, so the Tesla Semi reservations have closed. New details are released ahead of launch. I feel like we did, but maybe we didn't. No, maybe we didn't. Looks on the 18th. So Tesla stopped taking reservations for the Semi after 5 years. It looks like we'll be getting close. Tesla was taking $20,000 reservations for the Semi, but as of today, the Reserve Now button has been removed from the website and replaced with a Get Updates button. I did check that, and it has been. In addition, some specs have been clarified. Tesla still says the truck will be capable of 0 to 60 in 20 seconds and have 300 or 500 mile batteries with a consumption of under 2 kilowatt hours per mile, all while fully loaded to its 82,000 pound capacity. Now, you may be thinking, wait, trucks in America are limited to 80,000 pounds. But if they're electric, they get an additional 2,000 pound bonus, trying to help make up for the battery.
Good call out.
Yeah.
And this is, remember, this is fully loaded. So 500 mile range is at full capacity. And
of 82 tons. Or of not 82 tons, sorry.
80,000 pound load. Which
41 tons, yes.
which they're not always fully loaded at that capacity, which means they're probably most of the time going to get more range than that.
I would say they're rarely fully loaded because if you try to do the volume and load them up.
Well, the ones that go long distance, that go really long, they're probably usually fully loaded.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the regional ones, they're probably not.
Exactly. So they
that's nuts. 2 kilowatt hours per mile.
Right.
I've even hit that sometimes in my X.
Yeah, we need something more efficient.
But remember, it's towing 80,000 pounds.
Right, and we're only towing 5,000.
No, I was saying that's great. That's wonderful.
That is good. That is good. Yeah,
that's amazing that they think they can pull that off.
Because it's only double a fully loaded Model X.
I think that's mostly taking advantage of the fact that on the highway, once you get up to speed, you're just maintaining speed.
Yeah,
it's not that bad. Like the weight is not that bad of a draw.
Like a train
at that point is aerodynamic.
Right.
Is the wind.
And at that much weight, the region is going to be crazy.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Robert says, nice cab, and you don't need to move the wheel. Yeah, absolutely. I hope they have a second jump seat in there.
They do.
Well, they have one jump seat, but I hope they have a second jump seat so you can get 3 people in there.
3 people.
Okay.
Yeah. So we previously only had one static interior photo, and now we have a short video render of the interior. Huh?
The interior will be certainly. I mean, the exterior cab shape is more aerodynamic than the current big rigs.
Imagine what they could do without those mirrors.
Oh yeah.
Let's take a look.
That would be huge. I like the cameras the way they have that set up for the view.
Yes. You don't even need to use the mirrors because you got this right there.
I can see you just using those camera views and not even using the mirrors at all.
Yeah.
No more blind spots. It'd be so much safer.
Look at that. Yeah, I know.
Like you can see the trailer on both sides. So when you're doing your glancing, it's right there, and because the cameras can see it, then the autopilot computer can also see it to help warn you of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They changed the wheel this time around. It's still a wheel and not a yoke, but this wheel looks like the plaid wheel, the one that was on the prototypes.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's some laws about they're not going to get away with a yoke on a semi.
Well, you wouldn't want a yoke on a semi because
they're not going to do a yoke.
The number of degrees of rotation that you're going to have to do just for the maneuvers that they have to make. You would want a full wheel on a semi.
I think they could probably get away with it, but the problem is you've got all the experienced truckers, and then you've got all the company owners, and then you've got anybody who's going to just raise them issues. So rather than fight it, why not just do the electric truck, and then on the next version, then we can try and get Elon's yoke in there.
And you have truckers that may be driving different trucks. Like the one trucker might be driving this truck for the company today, and they
Yes.
might be driving a diesel truck for the same company tomorrow.
Right.
You know, as part of
Right.
because they may
Right.
have a bunch of different trucks in their fleet. So
Right.
so you want the wheel to at least be
less barriers to the customer purchasing. So I see on the right screen now you've got your regular Tesla interface with your temperature, your phone, the volume. On the left side, I can't tell what that is.
Truck stuff.
Well, truck stuff, but like what?
So,
A lot of cup holders. We got your
That's
phone holder and charger right there. I like that. And then you got your truck status, and so probably also your logs and everything. And then you got the map on this half of the screen. I bet you the autopilot would go right there.
And on the far half of both screens is the
mirrors,
the mirrors,
Yeah.
the camera relays.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like it, and I like how tasteful that was. Just like a simple zoom in. A couple of expectations had now been trimmed down, though only slightly. Tesla originally claimed the truck would have 4 independent electric motors capable of recharging 400 miles in 30 minutes. The site now says Tesla Semi will have 3 independent motors instead of 4, so they've gone plaid. They've gone down to plaid from whatever quad was going to be called. And it's capable of regaining 70% charge in 30 minutes. So 70%, which would be 350 miles on a 500-mile battery. That's still not bad. I mean, it's enough to get them in trouble if they drive the full recharge, as far as with the regulations.
Well, with the regulations, the truckers have to take an hour break.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I mean, if you're getting 70% in 30 minutes, but you have an hour. I mean,
you're good.
Exactly.
Should be good.
Let me say this right quick. I spoke with a couple of truckers. Like I said, honestly, I'm telling you from the record, I am planning on investing in one of these. I don't plan on doing CDL or anything, but I want to invest in. I'm going to invest in one of these trucks because I see the potential. And speaking with some older truck drivers, some truckers, they said this is a game changer because it's beneficial if you really just look at it for them. Like they can be charged up and still rest and get other things out the way, or it's you got to look at deeper than what what it's actually saying. But it's a game changer. Like I was told from several truckers.
Definitely.
So
this
goes to the argument that everybody says, well, when I travel with my gas car, I can stop drive 500 miles, stop for 5 minutes and refuel and back on the road. Professional drivers don't do that.
Right.
Correct.
Even with diesel,
for an hour.
Even with diesel, they don't do that today.
Correct.
Right. So you're going to be stopping for an hour. You refuel, and depending on where you're going, then after the next few hours of driving, you're at your destination, and then you're unloading and unloading and recharging.
Yep. And where was I going with that? They pointed out that it's attached to a Tesla semi-charger. So notice they renamed it from the Mega Charger to the Tesla semi-charger.
Interesting.
Good call. See that.
Then we got a video of the Tesla Semi pulling up and plugging into one of these chargers. At the new one, installed a gig in Nevada. So now there's two Mega Chargers now. There's one at Frito-Lay and there's one at Nevada.
So has anybody done the math
like
on this? So if they're close to 2 kilowatts per mile and you're getting 500 miles, you're close to I guess a megawatt battery pack, because 2 times 5 is 10, so you're looking at 1,000 kilowatts. I mean, 1,000.
Run, guys. It's been great.
Right. Thank you.
Take care, Joe.
Yeah, that sounds like a megawatt to me.
So you're close to a megawatt, and since you said under 2K, I'm gonna say let's just call it a 900 battery pack. And if you're charging up 70% within 30 minutes, then those chargers are let's see. Well, they're assuming 700 kilowatts. I was assuming a little less.
Yeah.
But Yeah. Okay. So here in the article, they were doing the math with the charge rate. That's what I was trying to figure out is the rate of charge of these Tesla
Right.
semi chargers. They're looking at 1.4
Megawatt.
megawatts.
So you're definitely gonna need a Tesla Mega Pack to buffer this load against these trucks coming into the truck stop, because that's gonna get you a major demand fee.
And not only is it going to be major demand, imagine multiple trucks charging at the same time.
Right.
If you have like, you might have 6 or 7 chargers set up or something, and
Right.
maybe like 4 or 5 trucks charging all at the same time.
Yeah.
That's a humongous draw.
It is.
Yeah, you definitely need a buffer.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, where are they coming in with that? But I'm pretty sure they. I look at it as a positive. A lot of people look at it as negative, but I look at it as
it's not negative.
Like I said,
Oh no, it's definitely a positive. I'm just
yeah.
thinking of the logistics of how they're doing it.
Right. Because because I was thinking that as well. I was speaking, like I said, I really, man, believe it or not, I really do a lot of research on some of this stuff, man. I'm really trying to invest in something majorly, other than my racing, what I'm doing. But that's a good point there, though. But like I say, it's gonna be a game changer, though, man, for the truckers, though. Especially you ain't got to worry about so much maintenance and costs on this and that, things like that. And like I said, it's gonna be a cool truck to be out there on the road, man. Because I actually saw it. I saw the truck in person, touched it. I had the plant. They just won't let nobody really see the inside. I see why now.
Yeah.
They would not let nobody see it, so you can't really take pictures of the inside.
Yeah. Well, it's not
They
done
probably
either.
weren't done. They probably were still, making changes and tweaking and trying to figure out on the interior.
So I also will probably be investing in as many of these as I can get my hands on. So let's look at the new specs. Still the same mileage, still the same energy consumption, or better. 0 to 60 still 20 seconds. The fast charging was adjusted as we discussed. Speed up a 5% grade is the highway speed limit, so you're not gonna get stuck behind a Tesla semi. They will just keep, assuming it's safe to go that speed up the mountain, because some of the mountains have enough switchbacks you got to slow down anyway. But assuming it's like a straight up ones that you're stuck behind when you're going up the mountain. And then
you know what? Going down a mountain, when they're going downhill,
they'll probably be the ones under control, because the other ones, they start to speed up a lot because you got the Jake brake and you got the regular brakes. You don't want to burn out the engine or burn out the brakes.
Right.
So the Tesla Semi will probably be closer to what normal people are doing, because they're just throwing that back in the battery.
They're just using regen, just recapturing energy, and that's going to be huge.
Yeah, Robert, I have a feeling that the price has gone up, probably just like everything else. But yeah, it was $250, and the 70 mile per hour limit. I don't think that they said they had a limit on it, but they might. Whatever is legal in the area it's driving in. So here's the big one right here. Just like we found out with the police departments, fuel savings over 3 years, $200,000. You save the price of the almost the price of the truck in diesel in just 3 years. And most of these stay on the road for what, 10, 15 years or more with the first owner. And then let's talk about the second, third, fourth owners. We've got 1970s trucks still on the road. And then the other big change is this 3 motors instead of 4. Let's see. Rivian and Lightning consume somewhere around 1 kilowatt hour a mile when towing a large trailer. That's a good point. But so does the Model X when towing up to around 1 kilowatt hour a mile. They might have a worse aerodynamic drag coefficient, but the Semi probably still pushes more air due to the large frontal area. And Volvo's estimate for the VNR electric involve a bit higher than 2 kilowatt hour a mile consumption, though they don't specify that this is under full load. Oh, that might be empty. All told, the 1.5 kilowatt hours a mile consumption would be quite a feat. That would be sharp. Alternatively, the change in language could just be a recognition of the 300-mile battery. Does this mean that the 300-mile battery can charge 70% in 30 minutes, and the 500-mile battery will take longer? I think it'll be just like the cars. The bigger battery will just charge at that same percentage, whatever it happens to be.
I think the bigger, because I think the bigger battery would be able to carry max charge rate longer.
Right, like my Model X versus Dawood's Model X. His doesn't see the 170 like ever, whereas mine will charge at 170 for a few minutes and then it'll slow it down to 90. Yeah. As long as the charger can provide enough, yeah. Perhaps Tesla's being characteristically generous in their estimates. I would much rather be surprised in a good way when I plug in my vehicle and see the numbers than like, man, they told me I could be out of here in 15 minutes. I've got 15 minutes till my break is over. What's going on? You cost me money, Tesla. What's a better experience? We still don't know the battery size, charge rate, or consumption, but we're getting in the ballpark. These are some pretty pictures. There's the depot. There's on the road. 0.36 coefficient drag, but that stat is now missing. Oh, it's interesting. I see some changes in the design. First prototype showed fewer aerodynamic disturbances. Yeah, because they didn't have mirrors and skirts and stuff. Oh, that's right. The skirts.
Yeah,
don't
that
seem to be-
0.36 is probably without mirrors. Now that they have to have mirrors,
It's probably going way up.
it's probably going up.
Less space between the tractor with no side mirrors.
It's probably going. It's probably those mirrors probably add like an extra 5%.
Easily, because if
Right.
they do it on a car, imagine what they do. Because they have to be bigger on the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a couple of these if I can. Zach and Jesse, they ordered one.
Yeah, they did.
Well, Zach did. I don't think that Jesse was in the position to order a semi. Lots of numbers in the article.
Still, they're getting one. So
yeah,
that'll be
Google's-
interesting because they're going to put that on the road and go tour with it.
Oh yeah, I'm curious what they use it for.
Showing
yeah,
off just showing it to everybody.
Right. This is going to be exciting. Dan also sent us, here's how the U.S. tax credits and rebates will work with clean energy home upgrades. This is important because I was looking at upgrading my gas furnace at my house to a heat pump. It doesn't need to be done yet, but if the tax credits make it affordable, I will do it because electrify all the things, right? So let's take a look, scan through this. Energy efficient home improvement credit changes. The non-business energy property credit, now named the energy efficient home improvement credit, will take effect on January 1st. And the old credit was worth 10% of the cost of installing insulation, windows, doors, roofing, and other energy saving improvements. The old $500 lifetime limitation still applies for the rest of 2022. Well, I'm not doing it this year. I'm busy. For next year, a $1,200 annual tax credit limit will replace the old $500 lifetime limit. The tax credit will be equal to 30% of those costs for all eligible home improvements made during the year. It's also been expanded to cover things such as biomass stoves and boilers, electric panels, and home energy audits. All right, so 30%. I might not do it this year, but if the price is right, it'll be worth it. Beginning in 2023, annual limits for particular types of qualifying alterations were improved. For example, it's $250 for an exterior door, $500 for all exterior doors, $600 for exterior windows and skylights, $2,000 for a heat pump. Oh, there we go. And I hate it when people call it this. It's not a hot water heater. It is a water heater. What does a water heater make? Hot water.
Right. It takes cold water and it makes it hot.
It's a peeve of mine. I'm sorry. For homeowners who don't qualify for the rebate due to higher household income, see below, the latter 2,000 is the exception to the $1,200 annual limit. Okay, so if you do one of the things they want you to do, you can get over the $1,200 annual limit. Nice. Because that'd be a little weird if a heat pump is worth $2,000, but you can only get $1,200 from it. All right, I'm gonna save this for later and look through it a little bit better. Let me put this in the article for you guys in the chat if you guys are looking at doing any improvements as well. And then we'll see what Ben has to say. Did I watch the fully charged video? I did not. I loaded it up and did not watch it. You saw a 1920 and 1940 bus yesterday. Yeah, I mean, old stuff stays on the road if you maintain it. And then Bennett says, Zach and Jesse are getting CDLs to drive it. It's going to be a hoot. I wonder what they'll pull in a trailer. East Coast Archimotive deliveries, maybe, or something related to camping. That would be interesting. Yeah, they would both probably need the CDL because I don't see them using it as an RV. So they'll need to so they can drive through the night. They'll both need to get approved. So that'll be fun. I'll watch that. Let's see. Yep. So I sent you guys the link. Sorry for all this scrolling for this. You guys are just watching me scroll. What is the next window? All right. So I think this is the article that Dan was talking about with the gamer car. He called it. I'm gonna need a new window though, because I'm trying to save that tax credit window. There we go. We'll share this tab instead. But it's not a simple button. I gotta come over here, click over here, do this. There we go. And then I'll hide the first window. So Dan says influencers test drive the Indy 1, an EV for gamers, starting at 45 grand. That's not terrible for an EV. And it doesn't look bad from this angle. Digital influencers were spotted driving around California in... Oh, okay, so it might not be a car aimed at influencers, because I imagine that the market for that might not be enough to stay in business. But they were trying to get the influencers to show off the car. It makes more sense to me. Founded in 2017, they aim to bring digital connected driving experience. The Indy 1 debuted earlier this year with production planned for mid-2023. So they're coming up on it, so that makes sense. Well, let's take a look at the car, and I wish them luck. All right, so far it looks pretty. Range 230, and like I said, I need a minimum of 200, so they got that. 0 to 60 in 6.7, so it's on the slower side, but it's not slow. 410 newton meters of torque. 76 kilowatt hour battery. That might be why the range is where it is. But the Model 3 and Model Y are about there too, aren't they, Omar? About 80?
Yeah, the Model Y, I think it's 77K usable. I think it has like an 82.
Yep.
I think the early Model Ys were
They were in the 60s,
70.
Yeah.
I think it was like 77.
Yeah.
For the early Model Ys, but then the later Model Ys, they bumped it up to 82.
Yeah.
Although they leave a little buffer there, and it's like,
yeah.
I think like 77 or 78 is the actual usable amount.
Makes sense. Top speed is extra legal at 120. Charging is 100 kilowatts, but with that size battery and not being a Tesla, that's about what we'd expect to see. Only a handful of the cars under 100 kilowatts out there go faster than 100. We've got the Hyundai triplets. We've got some of the GM products, and everything else out there's got a big old battery. I like that price though. Single motor rear wheel drive. The premium goes up to 300 and goes at a much more 2012 Model S 4.2 seconds. 730 newton meters of torque, and almost 100 kilowatt hour battery at 95. You can go 10 more extra legal miles at 130 miles per hour, and this one gets a much more impressive 150 kilowatt DC charging with dual motor all-wheel drive.
I definitely like that one better.
Yeah, but also a lot more typical EV pricing at 69 grand. I'm not saying that all EVs are expensive, because we've seen time and again there are $24,000 EVs out there to be had. But when you're trying to make a splash in the news, get people to talk about you, you don't want to show off something with cloth seats and manual windows. You need to have the glitz and glam to catch the camera. So I wish them luck. This sounds good. This guy says he doesn't care about computers and cars. Give me a place where I can put my phone. I would say that you're not in the majority there, sir.
He's definitely not.
At least for having a successful company and getting those sales. All right, so there's this one. This one. Indonesia. We talked about Indonesia last week, Dan. Where they got that contract. Oh, is this a new article? Let me see. It doesn't say much newer than what we were talking about with Indonesia trying to get in on this Tesla situation. Omar sent us Elon's tweet about you can upgrade your existing car in 2 minutes via the Tesla app, because he had just said that he was going to charge 15 grand for autopilot. And let's see what else we got here.
So of course
Then
you just
Omar-
do that reminder out there. Hey, reminder,
Right,
you can upgrade
exactly.
right now.
And then Omar told us about how these other places like CNBC are getting their videos taken down by Dan O'Dowd, not our Dan, the one that thinks he's a politician, and that's not good.
Which
Omar
I
sent
still
us-
think that whole thing was a scam about him being a politician. He was just
It's
running
definitely a scam. He said so himself.
just for campaign purposes. He could raise a bunch of money and then he can put the videos out and put a bunch of stuff out there
Exactly.
without using his own money. So,
Yeah, and he said so himself. So depending on how they can use that as a mission, they could get him on that angle for abusing the campaign.
campaign rules, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Where is my notes window at? I had a couple more. So I had a note about a recall. I think these ones are all fossils, but I tend to do a mixture of recalls between EVs and fossils. So Ford, Jeep, Nissan, Toyota, and BMW have models recalled for various items. Audi and Volkswagen have these cars for problem with the front passenger airbag that may explode or deploy improperly during a crash.
That includes the e-tron.
Oh, it does include the e-tron. The 2016 though? Yeah, wow. That might be the e-tron plug-in hybrid though, like 2016.
Oh, it probably is.
Yeah. So yeah, there we go. It's EV related. Plugins are EVs. They just happen to have a gas on them. So a problem with the may explode the airbag properly. Get that checked out. A separate recall: 50,000 Audis have fuel pump issues. Please, during the notice, a fuel pump failure can cause an engine to stall, increasing the risk of a crash. Or if it pumps too much, it could cause a fire, for just flooding the engine. BMW detected a problem with 2022 to 2023 iX xDrive 50 and iX M60 and i4 eDrive 40. All these models, some of them were electric or partially, leading to a recall. Impacted vehicles could have a battery with internal damage, leading to electrical short circuit, which increases fire risk. So since some of these are gas vehicles, I would say they're probably talking about the 12 volt again.
Oh, wait a minute. So this is finally BMW's finally addressing their problems with BMWs catching fire all over the place.
Seems that way. It only took them 5-6 years. Owners are advised not to drive or charge their vehicles and to park outside and stay away from structures until the remedy is complete. Dealers will replace the high voltage battery free of charge. Oh, so that's not the lead battery.
Wait, that advice sounds really familiar. Where have I heard that before?
Sounds like BMW got their batteries from LG, didn't it?
Yeah, we've seen that before with the Bolt.
Yeah, LG Prismatic, Bolt, Kona, and Nero, and where else did we see it? We saw it with their too many times. We saw it with the Chrysler Pacifica. We did not see it with the Mustang. Apparently, the Mustang, something about the way the Mustang has its batteries laid out makes it immune to this issue. All right, so Jeep has a taillight error. The Grand Cherokee and Grand Cherokee L, taillight side marker that does not illuminate can reduce your visibility, increasing the risk of a crash. Yeah. So can not having automatic lights, because you got all these people running around with no lights, with just DRLs. Nissan is recalling more than 10,000 vehicles over a problem with the infotainment head unit. When the Sirius XM subscription is set to not subscribed, it may cause the head unit to reboot, resulting in inoperative rear view camera. This increases the risk of a crash. 2021 to 2022 Rogue, 2022 Frontier, Pathfinder Titan. Oh, the Leaf isn't in that. But either way, just as we've seen in the past with these rear view camera recalls, they probably say in the actual text, look over your shoulder. Toyota has first involving 60,000 RAV4, RAV4 Hybrid, and RAV4 Prime. So those are plugins, the last one anyway. made in 2022. The front passenger seat may have been incorrectly assembled, leading to faulty detection in the occupant classification system sensor. So that it tells it how big the person is and where they are in the seat. So how much force to put in the airbag or not to deploy the airbag at all if it's somebody who's too small. That is very important. The second recall explains that one or more individual welds in the upper child... Oh, man. Yeah, the upper child seat anchors may be insufficient in 2022 and 2023 Tacoma vehicles. This makes the vehicles incompatible with the FMVS standard number 225, which means that also it's not safe for your child in a crash. So go get your latches re-welded. In that case, I would also say that if you are in one of these vehicles and it's your only one and you got to get the car and the kid to the dealership, use the seatbelt as well. Not just the latches, because they are insufficient in that case. Anything for Voxel? Not in this US-centric news blurb, but if you know of a Voxel recall, tell me what's going on. So this is one I wanted to talk to you guys about, this mandatory OnStar subscription coming from GM on Buick, Cadillac, and GMC models. Remember how GM said it was going to make billions on subscriptions? This is how. Mary Lynn.
Make it mandatory. That's how they're going to make that money.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that she was going to do something to make the subscriptions appealing. Just make them required.
No, just force it. Just force the issue.
So if you don't want to pay for in-car subscriptions every month, no problem. Just pay it all up front. So you have two choices: pay it all up front for $1,500, or pay monthly every year for 3 years at $50 a month. Wow. Now, I'm not saying that nobody else does subscriptions, but nobody else has required the subscription. Like if in Tesla, if you don't pay for the internet connection, you get maps until recently. The maps will go away at 8 years. But again, if you don't pay for the maps in 8 years, they go away. So it's not like they're forcing you to keep paying for them as long as you have the car. And if you don't pay for the radio goes out. No big deal. Like the internet radio I'm talking, not the FM, AM, XM, that sort of thing.
But you could
you have a choice.
Yeah, you have a choice. And then the other thing, you can even still use like your phone as a hotspot and connect it to the Wi-Fi on that, and then it will work.
Yeah. And when I brought this up to What Drives Us, I was thinking, oh yeah, look, no EVs are covered. And I remembered the Cadillac Lyriq is coming out, and the GMC Hummer exists, although they could probably afford the extra $1,500 on the Hummer at that point. And then you've got the what was the other EV they had coming out that didn't have a Chevrolet badge on it? But either way, so that did affect several EVs, but not only EVs. These are mostly fossils. I didn't like it.
Weren't they coming out with a pickup truck too?
Yeah, the Chevrolet. So they'd probably have a GMC version
Silverado
of the non-Hummer.
Yeah,
the Silverado for sure. But probably also the Sierra, because they usually make a Sierra of the Silverado every time. James says this is probably why Buffett dumped all of his GM stock. This greed will cause the company downfall. Mary is out of touch with her customers. All she cares about is her paycheck. How much can she shake down the GM customers? Bye-bye, GM. I'm sure Mary will get a golden parachute worth millions. He might be onto something. So Ford offers 3-year free trials of their services, while GM forces you to pay for 3 years up front with no recourse if you sell or total the car in 3 years. And so Toyota also does that. Like with the remote start, they give you a 3-year trial. And if you buy your car in the fall, and then when the next 3 winters go by, all of a sudden you try to start your car up again, it doesn't start. But it was a free trial, not a mandatory payment.
Right. It's a big difference.
If you don't use remote start, you don't have to give them any money after 3 years. If you like it, well...
A Tesla gives you that 1 year of premium data subscription.
On the S and X they do, but I think it's down to 30 days or 6 months on the smaller cars.
Oh, they reduced it down now?
Oh yeah. Elon likes money.
Well, when I got the Y, it was a year.
It was, yeah.
So
yeah. Marcus was telling us about how the one on Smoke, they just reminded him, hey, do you want to keep this premium? And he's like, yeah.
No, I didn't do it yet because technically I don't have my car yet. I'm almost there, but I'll wait till I get the car back. You know, we feel.
Yeah, that's true. Because if you're paying monthly, why pay for the shop guy to be able to listen to radio when he's got Wi-Fi?
Right. So, but I did. But I did notice though I cannot remote look at my Sentry mode now without it.
Correct. You need
Even though I'm
the
on,
premium.
even though I'm on the shop's Wi-Fi,
Oh,
I'm on their Wi-Fi,
wow.
but I still go in there and just look to see, see if somebody working on a car and just looking at,
Yeah, they did use a certain verbiage when they described the certain
You
wording. When
cannot
they
look at live.
they were saying they were saying that they attached it to the premium subscription. They didn't say
Right.
yeah. So they probably still use your Wi-Fi, but if you're not paying them, they don't let you see it. That's a way to
No,
kind
that's
of
what I'm saying.
another reason to keep it. I
That's
like
what I'm saying.
your
Right.
thinking.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You cannot access live Sentry mode
They want
without
that
the
money.
premium connection.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
why
Like,
when I renewed
Yeah,
mine, what I did
they-
is
they-
I did the yearly subscription when I renewed mine.
Yeah, I would do yearly
So
for sure.
It's 100 bucks for a
But
year.
they warned us. But every other thing where they say requires premium, if you're on Wi-Fi, it works. So
Correct.
I understand like you and I were thinking, yeah, that would work. But they warned us. They told us exactly what they did, and then they did it.
Exactly.
So personally, I figured I took the cheaper route. I did
Right.
$100 for the year instead of the $10 a month, which comes out to $120 a year.
That's what I would do.
Save $20 by doing it yearly.
Yeah, especially if you know you're going to want it. Yeah,
Yeah.
or need it.
If you're gonna keep the car, it makes sense. Just go ahead and do the yearly subscription. But then,
Hey,
Yeah.
it's funny. It's like I got a storage unit for my closed-in trailer that's coming. So let me just pay a month a month. If I pay for the whole year, which I don't need it, I get a month free. So I like
Exactly.
I'm just gonna do it. I know I'm gonna need it there. So
Yeah. That's what I like when they give you a month or two free if you do the whole year up front.
Yeah.
SpaceX was denied a $1 billion rural broadband subsidies for Starlink by the FCC. Lucid is going to debut a new Air variant on the 19th, so they already did that. We can go back and look at it if I cared enough. I don't. Sorry. Anybody else who's interested in Lucid Air, if you want to drop the details in the chat, we'll talk about it. A new entry-level BYD-powered Model Y is approved by the EU. So this is the first time we're seeing BYD batteries in a Tesla outside of a test environment, which is cool. And CATL has announced a new battery plant in Hungary. They also did some stuff, keep in solidarity with their China-Taiwan situation, and they kind of loosened up their language on the upcoming CATL plant in the U.S. because we had politicians visit Taiwan, and they don't like that. Although Taiwan makes all the chips, so we'd be stupid not to visit Taiwan if we want some chips. Come on, China. Think logically. And then Purcell brought us up a talking point. He wanted to know, is MCU2 upgrade worth it? So talk to people who've had MCU1 along with me. MCU1 is slow.
I saw a humongous difference. So,
yeah.
I mean, if you plan on keeping the car for a long period of time, I say it's worth it.
Yeah.
If,
especially now the prices dropped.
If you think you're getting rid of the car sometime soon, then no. But if you're going to keep it long term, I think it's worth it.
Yeah. And I'm not saying 1,000's nothing, but 1,000 is way better than what they were charging when the thing came out. It was almost $5,000 when it first came out with labor, out of warranty. And now it's $1,000 installed. That's a lot easier to decide if you realize that you like using the computer. And I think sometimes if your memory goes out, you can still get another deal, or was the deal, and now everybody's got that same deal.
I think that was the deal. Now it's just
everybody can get it. Okay. Yeah.
So
you can do games. You get almost everything that the new cars have, except
not only that, it's so much more responsive for everything.
Yes, everything.
The maps load faster. Like everything loads faster. It boots up faster. Like it's just so much better response. Just like touching it, moving things, everything. Like everything you do in it is just much more responsive.
Definitely. Yeah.
Just for the overall experience.
Ask me if you should do it, and you've got the money, and you're going to hang on to the car for more than a year. I'd say do it. It's worth your hassle. Our friends Test Lucky, they did it to their Model X, and they've got some videos on that, and they enjoy theirs. And so that's just TESLALUCKY on the YouTube there. You can find them on my Friends of the Channel banner, and you're on the channel homepage. Give them a listen and hear what they had to say about it as well. But unless you're getting rid of the car in 2 to 3 months, that would be pretty much the only time I say don't do it if you have the the availability to give Tesla another $1,000. Yeah, and then you've gone from MCU 1 to MCU 3 between your Model S's.
Yeah, and it's a huge difference.
Yeah, because now you got Ryzen with the graphics card, not just Ryzen like some of the Model Ys have. Yeah, so Smoke can play AAA rated games if Elon ever, not ever, whenever Elon actually comes through on that promise. Some things he's just going to be
Exactly.
slow on. Yeah. $25,000 Model S that would have MCU 2. MCU 2 came standard.
Well,
Hmm?
I was gonna
No,
say
20,
in my P85. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. The upgrades they did, I paid for the upgrade that they did all that.
Yeah.
I mean, the YouTube, I can look at the browsers faster. I mean,
Yeah.
I got
You,
games pretty much.
that you even have YouTube? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It plays
Right.
fast. The browser is faster.
the
Yeah.
browser's actually usable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usable.
So depending on when that $25,000 Model S was built, it may come with it, or if the owner just did the bump up when they said, "Hey, we can do this under warranty for, or we can do this one while we're in there. We can just give us some money. We'll move the version up." It might
I would
already
say
have
most likely at that price point, you're probably looking at a 2012
MCU
to
1.
2013,
Yeah.
and you're probably looking at MCU 1.
Yeah. I've seen a few in the used market that have it already done, but that is the exception to the rule. Unless it's a newer one with lots of miles.
Yeah, I would think at that price point, you're probably looking at MCU 1.
The ones I start to see it the most on are right around 45 to 70 used. It's 2018. So if it was built in the beginning of 2018, it'll have MC1. If it was built in the
Wait, you found a 2018 for that price? That's
Yeah.
amazing.
But so mine is a 2018, and we just lucked into getting MCU 2. When we ordered it, it would have been MCU 1. Yeah, so it's a 2018 and a half. So, but that's why I keep saying, if you see something you want, buy it, because it will change. So we
now
could
that depends on what year what month that car was.
right. So mine was built with the MCU 2 and the ventilated seats, but the ones built after mine were built with the MCU 2, but standard vegan leather seats.
Right.
Yeah. If I waited a little bit, I would have to pay for my supercharging. I'd have to pay for my radio, and I'd have a hot butt. So.
Oh yeah, that was one thing I did. They asked me that one thing extra for. I'm like, nah, I don't even really listen to FM radio. I'll be honest with you, because I stream when everything to the phone.
Oh yeah.
But
So if you change your MCU, you do lose the terrestrial radio unless you pay for them to put the new module in it. $500.
Yeah.
And like you, I just listen to streaming in my phone, so I don't need $500 to get mad at the DJ and his commercials.
Let me tell you something. Like, look here, on my 2013, before I did the update, I couldn't use the features where I open the front, the trunk from the app, even the remote start, the keyless start, until they did the upgrade. After they did that, it worked. I mean, I could play Sonic. I play Sonic. I got a wireless controller in my P85 Plus. Yeah. So I can play Sonic with the wireless controller while I'm at the charging station. That's nice. Another guy out there had a 2012.
2014.
Yeah.
Playing Sonic. Yeah.
I'm playing Sonic. Like I said, it got pretty much all. I just don't have autopilot or anything like that though. But I got all the. I'm talking about the browser is so fast. Like I'm amazed.
Yeah.
And I can watch YouTube in my 2013. Like
yes.
So
in my 2016, it had all of that. So is that because the chips were failing on the old one, or they just didn't offer it till they gave you the new computer?
Well, they did I had a recall. I had some kind of recall about the 8 gig with the 8 gig memory thing. So
right.
That was the memory chip.
Yeah.
Right. So for $1,500 more, if I pay that, they come in upgrade. And the guys were definitely saying, we'll do that or whatever, and beef everything up. And that's what they did. And like I said, it was well worth it to me because.
So the 13 didn't have it in the app even before it broke. Wow.
It had in the app. It wasn't responding though. It
didn't respond to it. Okay, I got you.
Right. It never responded. It would lag really bad. It would take a really long time to respond.
By the time it got it, the command expired.
The command would send, and then sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't work. It send the command.
No.
Like with the 13. Like it got really really laggy.
Yeah.
Really really bad.
Yeah, because yours was 13 too.
And the web browser in the 13, 100% unusable. Like
Garbage.
I didn't
It's way
even try to launch it no more. It got to the point I just wouldn't launch that app because I'm like, the web browser is not usable.
It's useless, right?
On the
Right.
16, I had it locked into Tesla's homepage so I could show other people stuff, but I didn't ever use the browser on that thing because it was trash.
Right.
I'm sure it was nice for the first owner, but for me, it was trash.
It was cool that it had one there.
Yeah, yes.
But I
unusable.
almost never used it. It was just like unusable. Like I had it set to the Tesla homepage, I think, and I would, put that up just for show.
Right.
So
when I'm showing
now,
people, but it was.
So look, I'm gonna be honest with you. My 2013, I got free unlimited super.
All the bells and whistles that I need, and it's paid for. So I'm like, hey, what can you ask for? And my battery holds a good charge. Thank God. Knock on wood, I don't see a lot of degradation, and because I don't charge at 100%, I don't use supercharge too often. And I mean, hey, that's my baby, man. I love that P85 Plus.
I do miss that free supercharging.
Yes.
But with that MCU 3 that I got, that thing lightning fast compared to that 2013 what I had.
It's kind of funny to me right there because our friend on the West Coast that ordered at the same time as you, she got MCU 2 and you got MCU 3. and both of them were out on vacation when their cars tried to get delivered, and so Tesla resold their cars. They're like, you're back in line. We'll get you when you come back in town. And he got the new one, and she got the previous month's model.
It's crazy how that timing is just luck of the draw,
Luck of the draw. Absolutely. So I want to thank Zachary and Keith for your kind donations, and we'll catch you on the flip side next week.